reading out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Pride with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night. From the Hokies to the Highlanders, he's got the spot.
And good morning. How are you? It is Thursday. I guess for a lot of people, this is the kind of like a Friday. Hit us up on the Professional Door Incorporated text line 391-0788 in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. David Smith, our NFL correspondent, joins us today at 6:30. Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline. Matt Roan, the Director of Athletics at James Madison, and Dwight Vick. That's a heck of a Thursday program. We got a heck of a announcement. Dude, we're going to, Dwight and I will make. There we go. There we go. So you see this right here, this Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce Partners for Progress. Steve Bufato, who watches the show. Of course, I'm a member of the chamber, and they asked a couple weeks ago if I'd be available on this day. It's next Thursday. So you see it's from 8 to 9:30. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I won't be able to do the show from here next Thursday, but we'll figure that out. But we'll be over there, and I'll kind of be moderating. I don't know exactly how the format's going to be, but Coach James Franklin's going to be there. I get to meet him, and I'll ask him if he wants to be part of the show at some point. He'll say no, and we'll move on. But hey, at least I get to let him know, who we are and what we do and so forth. I'm playing with the different settings here to see. Yeah, it's got to be that one. Yeah, okay. So there you go. There you go. So that's going to be coming up a week from today. And he'll be there speaking to all the business leaders and so forth of the day. How's everybody doing on a Thursday? Got a lot going on today. I feel like I need to vent here at the beginning. There's a lot of things that the Big South Conference does that makes you scratch your head. Let me get this out of the way. From Morris, from North Florida, where J.J. Gray sings about the way it used to be. Tonight, we are supposed to see Willie Nelson, the Herbal American, and wonder if he will even show at 93. Is he 93? Wow. Good for him. BDST is alive, people. Well, it rained here. I see you, T-Bird. What's up, Vic? Good morning, Stephen, Prometheus. It rained here. Now, we got heavy rain here in Ryder yesterday evening and then overnight. And, yeah, it's supposed to rain all weekend, which brings me back to my rant. So the Big South tournament, the Big South baseball tournament started yesterday, and Radford was the first game. And there was a rain delay there. And the Highlanders lost Charleston Southern 8-5. So that meant they had to play the evening game. What's up, Opal? The First Lady of Chat has returned. Good to see you. We missed you. I know you're lurking, and I know you're busy, but we miss you in shadow. No one can ever take your place. So they got through the second game, Upstate and Longwood. And then that meant that Radford and Longwood had to play just to stay alive. Well, the forecast called for just torrential downpours and thunderstorms all evening. And instead of the Big South just saying, you know what, we just got to have to pick up our ball, everybody go back to the hotel. Let's not try to play this thing. Let's just see what tomorrow looks like, because you don't want your teams to have to burn through pitchers. Well, they decided to try to play last night. And I was looking at the forecast. It was like 90%. And turned the game on. It started well after 9 because everything's running late. And, of course, they make it through the first inning, and then guess what happened? The skies opened up. I mean, it was just – and they had to just suspend the game. And today the forecast is supposed to be just as bad, which is what it is. But why the conference? Why the conference decided to start that game is beyond me. And they need to take some accountability for it, because now both Radford and Longwood, trying to stay alive in the tournament, have burned through pitchers. You don't warm up a guy again today. Now, Radford's pitcher didn't have a good first inning. They fell behind 5-0. But so now you got to come out with a whole new game plan if you get to start the game. But it was clear that nobody running the place has any clue about how baseball works. Why did you put them out there that late trying to stay on schedule? I get it, but sometimes you have to have a little common sense. You've got roles in leadership, and you make a lot of money as opposed to others who work in athletics. You would think decisions in the best interest of your teams would probably also be important, instead of just trying to boom, 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 force something through. But anyway, it really bothered me. And I know I didn't talk to AG. I know Alex has to be furious. I'm sure the Longwood team is furious. Why did they even try it? It was raining when the game started. But I'm sure it won't be addressed. It'll just be, we tried. Matter of fact, they're in there. This is what also bugged me. Let me make sure I get it right. Correct, 100%. Prometheus, no self-awareness, none, zero, zip. In their graphic on X, the Big South put out, we tried our best, but Mother Nature had other plans. Yeah, and you knew that well before you decided to roll those teams out there. So now that means that both Radford and Longwood probably didn't get out of the clubhouse back to the hotel till sometime after 10:30, who knows. I'm guessing they'd already had dinner since they were the late game. And then they're supposed to roll out today and play at 9 a.m. But anyway, it's baseball. You got to understand it. You've now burned through 2 pitchers that you probably will need at some point. I guess the fact that they didn't work very long means whoever wins this game, if they do get started today, many people think they won't. You do have that guy that you can bring back in another game, I guess, since he didn't throw much. But you cannot mess with the starters' warm-up routine and just say, okay, you warm up again tomorrow and we'll get you back out there. No, that's not how it works. You stretch a certain way. You work with the training staff. You work your shoulder. You work everything. It's about an hour worth of getting your body ready and limbered up before you start throwing to pitch. So there we go. Yay, Big South. Great call. Great call. We've missed you too, Opal. Opal, can you play the sax? Mike has parked the interest with his steak on the smoked tuna dip. These weekend plans include a reverse seared smoked tri-tip with chimichurri and the smoked, is it smoked tuna dip or is it tuna tips? And it was a crab dip. I don't remember. I do not remember. There's no crying in baseball, Morris. Just bugged me. I just in 2017, it was the second time that Joe Rakuya's group won the Big South tournament. We were playing down at a minor league park in Matthews, North Carolina. And there was lots of rain. So the last game of the day, of course, featured Radford. We were supposed to start 7:30. Things were so late because of the rain delay. You know, when we threw the first pitch, they had to clear it because it was the second day. That's what it was. It was the second day where things had gotten backlogged. So you're not supposed to start a game or to play after midnight. Well, they had to go through, and then they had to change the rule that year anyway, because they were going to be there at this point, maybe 2 full extra days. And the forecast had gotten pretty clear for the rest of the tournament. And we threw a first pitch in that game. I remember sitting all by myself in their very small makeshift broadcast booth. It was 12:07 a.m. We did not get off the air until 3:30, because then we had the baseball games. Certain games were part of our radio contract that we had with basketball. And kudos to the board op, whoever that was back at the station, who was there running spots and keeping the game on the air with us at 3:30 a.m. We left the field. Radford won. Everything was great and they didn't have to play until the next night. So we recovered that day. And then they won the tournament. But that was a little different because they had the forecast in their favor and they knew they had a window to go ahead and start catching up. But this was just silly. And I'm sure there's nobody happy down there on those coaching staffs. Nobody. Kids just roll with it. They're just, hey, doesn't really matter. Okay, we get to play. We'll go back out there tomorrow if we can. Yep. So anyway, I hope they get through it okay and everybody's all right. Tuna tips, smoked fish dip, and gator bites. I would like that. What in the world was that? Even for breakfast. Since we were on this, Tom was a great healer, but a very bad beautician. Yeah. Hollywood needs to figure that out. Everything that people do to their face and their bodies just to try to look younger to get roles, it doesn't ever look good. Virginia Tech won. They're in the quarterfinals, I think, of the ACC tournament. They knocked off UNC. They scored, 17 runs? College baseball. Whew. 17-10. So they'll be in the tournament now. That's the win that they really needed to get to be part of the regionals. I think the projection is they're going to be in the West Virginia regional. So at least they were able to rally, it looks like, to make the postseason. John Sheff's crew's had an up and down year, to say the least. But it looks like they're going to make the NCAA tournament, which is a good thing. Thanks for asking, Opal. He's doing great. You missed Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom in here last week when he caught a baby bunny. Of course, you know how animals are. Cats, they want to show you, hey, look what I did, man. I'm a badass. I ruled the yard. But he had not injured it yet, and it was squealing. So it was during the show. I just threw off the headphones, told everybody real quick, and I got the bunny away and left the door open, and eventually he ran out. Now, he wasn't happy with me. I just couldn't have him killing the little guy in the house because he wasn't hurt. There was no blood, and I don't know. Yeah, that was Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom here on the show. He's doing great. Yeah. David Smith's coming. We didn't have David last week. He was on vacation. We got to find out about where David vacated, man. Not sure where he went. We'll get caught up on some NFL things. All these international games. I love the way I know. Look, they're a runaway money-making machine, but their lack of self-awareness shows through. They release all this information in this country about all these added international dates, like people in America who, have made this sport into what it is, like they're going to fist pump over finding out more and more games are going to be sent elsewhere. And what the NFL is doing, they're priming. Get ready. They are priming for the first ever Super Bowl to be played internationally. And that may be the thing that finally gets the NFL. That's going to happen. That's what Goodell and the owners want. Because, they're already multi-billionaires. So let's just add more layers of money. Did you stand up in the Jeep and send Jim Fowler out to reduce the bunny? Well, the little guy still had some moves, so he was able to, as I approached them and distracted Boa a little bit, the little guy was able to kind of get out. And he was all wide-eyed and running around. He ran into the wall here, but he saw the opening. He felt the air and then ran to it, and boom, he was gone. And then I shut the door, so Creed wanted to chase him immediately. I was like, no, we're done. I think I was Jim Fowler. I do. I think I was Jim Fowler that day. What's up, Mikey? Oh, what was it? Okay. And Mikey's asking, what was that graphic you had of James Franklin? You mean this? Well, this is next Thursday. I'll be moderating this for the Chamber of Commerce. And James Franklin will be there. I think we're just going to have like a Q&A. I don't know if I'll be given questions and how to, I probably will. But yeah, there we go. A lot of the big business leaders here in the area will be there. Matter of fact, I think all the heavy hitters will be there. So that'll be next Thursday. I don't know how it's going to affect the show yet. So we'll let you know. It's one of those I could do an hour and then probably end it that day. We'll see. We will find out. Yeah, you'd want Creed by your side. He is a the dude is. Now I can't compare him to, I don't know how other people's, if they have kitties or whatever. He is a hunter supreme. It's crazy. It is crazy. And whenever there's another animal, I mean, he defends his territory. He's that guy. He's that guy. Who was Marlon Perkins, Coach Elmo? Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I have not decided yet, Vic, about Monday. I have not decided. I will let you know tomorrow if I'll be doing a show on Memorial Day. Things change a little bit because more than likely next Thursday's show will probably have to either just not happen or I'll have to alter it. And I'd hate to not have two. I mean, I'm off tomorrow on Saturday. So I'm off 3 days. And, by then I'll be maybe since I'm off the rest of Monday, I'm probably leaning more now toward doing the Memorial Day show right now. But I'll confirm that one way or the other tomorrow. Because the way it looks, I won't be able to, if I do anything on Thursday, it's only going to be an hour. We'll see. Thank you, Morris. I appreciate that. I'd like to think I am. I'd like to think I'm a hardworking dude. Don't get a lot of notice for that, but thank you. I appreciate when people do. Marlon Perkins standing up in the Jeep saying, that was a close one. Jim was kidding. Yeah, that's true. Jim always got beat up by the animals, didn't he? He did. He always was getting his ass kicked. Meanwhile, Marlon's just sitting there narrating the video. You're right. Marlon, get him, Jim. If we ever have another pandemic, food is scarce, I'm going to want Creed by my side. Yeah, you do. He would catch enough wild critters for everybody to be okay in your group. Not that we don't want you to, but take some time, in my opinion, have a 3-day weekend and barbecue Monday. Yeah. Have Coach Elmo be a guest host. I don't know. We're having trouble with his computer. Yeah, you're right, Prometheus. They're trying to do an international team. It's just Gorilla loves some rabbit. Hey, Balboa, I got a hankering for some Hassenpfeffer. Remember the old Looney Tunes cartoon? Hassenpfeffer. But you're right. I forgot about that. There used to be skits about Jim getting torn up by the animals while Marlon Perkins just collected all the royalty checks. That was a good show. If you were of a certain age, man, you watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. It was one of those things. Just like This Week in Baseball, from a sports perspective, Wide World of Sports with Jim McKay. Jim McKay was terrific. You learn so much about other sports than the ones that you already knew and loved and played. Wayne says he can sing the Mutual of Omaha song right now. By the way, it's good every week. Chat, you have been outstanding. Chat has been terrific. This has been a fun weekend chat. Thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. Get a free quote today. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, 155 Walters Drive. I know his chat room is busting at the seams. Go see Mark. He is really good at what he does. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, our presenting sponsor here on the program. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. If your units are working well, then go ahead and get them serviced. Our BDST fan question of the week, brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford. We had it your best in ballpark food, and it's down to two. It's down to hot dogs, and it's down to nachos. It's closer than you might think. Hot dogs is winning right now, but only by like 7 votes. So we'll have the final tally tomorrow. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner for me and for this program, thanks to Lara Ramsey. Travis Williams and Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated, 38 years in business. Thank you so much, Travis. You're terrific. Ready Set Fund, readysetfund.com. Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Find out how your organization can earn money quickly if you need it. Sundown Electric down in Ellison. Excellent reputation, long list of satisfied clients attest to their superior craftsmanship. Everybody talks about the great work they do and for the price. Reach out to the Smith brothers. Thanks, Jeff. In the NRV Super Bowls, we're going to have our bash here in about a month, 540-382-5525. Reach out to Terry Stike. They've got so much stuff going on. Spend part of your extended Memorial Day weekend if you're not traveling at the NRV Super Bowl. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply is located at 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. James has been doing it since 1997. Parts for all elements of your home. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. And Top Shelf Apparel, thank you for our T-shirts. You are awesome. Brandon up in Pulaski. TV was better when we only had 2, maybe 3 channels. If you could get ABC, you had to put the rabbit ears on the TV because of the fuzz. Good morning, Chris Lester. How are you? Now the family is all we got basically most of the fam here now, right? With Opal back. See, Opal, see how everybody missed you, by the way? See how everybody responded to you? I mean, you got to do a little better. I mean, we're glad you're back, but we've missed you. But good stuff. Coach Elmo would be amazing. You imagine Coach Elmo as the guest host? Yeah. We'll let you know tomorrow. What's going on. But we got a lot going on today. Andy Bitter a little bit later on, Matt Roan, Dwight Vick. Dwight and I have an announcement we're going to make. Joining us now on the program, and we miss him. Hey, good morning, Rodney. How are you? There he is. He's our NFL correspondent, the Radford Hall of Famer, and one of my all-time favorite human beings, David Smith. What's up, brother?
Good morning to you. How we doing today? We're doing?
We're doing all right. We missed you last week.
Yeah. So here's one for you. I was at the PGA Championship in Iran.
Were you really?
So,
wow.
So my teammate Eric Key lives near Philadelphia. So last year he made sure we secured a practice round, and so that was on Wednesday of last week. So we was up there for the whole, I guess, 3 days. We only got on the property. 1 day was enough though, and so yeah, I was able to walk the grounds, man, and take that in. So it was cool to see that, and it was before the weather got freezing cold. I don't know how much it followed, but we were there on a really nice day. The next day was freezing. Which was Thursday, and Friday was freezing. So we hung out and watched it from a local establishment or two up there, and was able to take on the property for the practice round. So that's where I was last weekend. It's a good day.
Oh, well, no wonder. Well, yeah, that's cool, man. How did the practice round go?
It's fantastic. I mean, Rory walks right by, and so and then Brooks Koepka was there, Terrell Hatton. We saw a couple of Jordan Spieth coming in down 10. So, and we were able to walk across 18 and 9 on the way out. They allowed you to do that between the practice rounds. So you get to actually walk on the course itself, which was kind of cool. Aronimik did a great job. Championships are championships for a reason. They're full of folks and full of fun stuff. So it was a good time. It was
Well,
a good
good,
time.
man. Well,
Bucket list item check.
Yeah,
Yep.
check. Have you done the Masters yet? Have you been able to do that yet?
No, I had the privilege of having access to tickets for a practice round and could not make it. And of course those things that you get those through a lottery in a lot of cases.
Right.
And so if you get one shot at it, that might be your only shot, or you get back into the rotation. And so a good buddy of mine who, when I started, whatever you want to call it, playing golf or hitting balls, whatever you want to call it, he was in the lottery and he goes, Smitty, he says, listen, man, I've got an extra ticket to a practice round or so. And I had something that obviously wasn't nearly significant enough that I shouldn't have tried to make it, but I didn't go. And I may rue the day that I didn't take him up on that one. Maybe hard to get back in those hallowed grounds or get into those hallowed grounds. No, I have not. Have you, by any chance?
No, I have not. I know a lot of people have been on that list trying to be part of the lottery for a lot of years. It's never worked out. Never showed up.
Yeah. I think Mike Jones, I think he has gone. I think with the time he spent in Georgia, I think he's had a couple opportunities, right?
Yeah, it's his favorite thing. He said it was one of the best things ever. Yeah.
So maybe I'll call him.
Yeah, maybe he's got the Midas touch down there.
Maybe he's due a call from me. I can feel that coming. Can't you feel that coming? He's due a call from me. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's what it is. You just want to check in
to see how he's doing.
To see how he's doing.
See how he's doing.
That's right.
Of course.
For his next
shout out,
gig.
Mike.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's get to it, man. And hey, at least, you know what? I know there's been a lot of things we've been annoyed by with Aaron Rodgers, and rightfully so. But at least he put this thing to bed early. He is going to, and he won't be one of those guys that I don't think, will decide to come back. No, he's gone after this year. He says he wanted to make one more ride through. Your thoughts on that? I don't know what kind of season he's going to have. Was he 42 now, 43, whatever he is?
I think he'll be 42 before it's over. I think
42.
Right. Yeah.
So, hey, you can't argue with the guy's career, his talent. He'll be a Hall of Famer, but I wonder what the legacy of Aaron Rodgers will look like when all's said and done.
Well, 4-time MVP, they're not going to take those back from him.
No, they're not.
The one Super Bowl, I think it probably speaks more to how hard it is to win Super Bowls. I think, a lot like Jordan with 6 and Russell with 11 and Brady with 7. It just makes everything else pale in comparison. Roethlisberger's got 2, Peyton Manning's got 2, Eli Manning's got 2, Bradshaw's got 4, Montana's got 4. When you start thinking about the folks that's got them in groups, none of those teams were bad teams, were quarterback only driven. Now, you could argue that Brady probably did it with fewer components, which probably makes him stand out the most. But Bradshaw's teams were super, super, super elite. I mean,
loaded.
No free agency. You had all that going. You think about Montana, same thing. Montana's teams were loaded with
talent, right?
But give him credit. So if you're loaded with players, you're supposed to win Super Bowls, and so they won 4. You think about that. You think about we just talked about Eli and Peyton Manning with 2. Peyton having to go to Denver. He was a shell of himself at that last one. He recognized that. He didn't belabor it any longer. Eli getting 2 with the Giants, beating Brady both times. And so it's kind of one of the oddities in sports. Like, he never won an MVP. I don't think he ever was first team All-Pro or anything like that. But he was a guy that led teams to 2 Super Bowls. That matters. To think that Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time MVP, only got to 1 Super Bowl.
I know. That blows me away. You're right.
He didn't even get to but 1 Super Bowl. And when you think of that, you kind of, I don't know that that's a bad commentary on him as a player as much as it is. It's just hard to get to them.
It's hard.
We just recognize. We've seen Seattle last season come out of nowhere and win a Super Bowl. And you think to yourself, there's Seattle. They've won as many Super Bowls now. They've won 2 in the last 11 years. And you think about the Green Bay Packers have only won the one with Aaron Rodgers. You have to go back to Brett Favre since they won another one. They went back to back. And, of course, the Broncos clipped them the second time. So when you start thinking about that, his legacy is cemented. But it's going to have more to do with the first 75% of his career. That's kind of how it goes for him. Right now, you just get the feeling that the Steelers put all their eggs in that basket. They knew he would come back because the moves that they made were for down the road. And with McCarthy coming in for Aaron Rodgers, it's a full circle moment. And he, to your point, was pretty definitive in saying, this is it.
He was.
He's never done that before. I
Nope.
need time in the offseason.
No.
And I probably, like others, were just sitting around waiting. Well, why won't he let him know? Why? But if you think about it, he let him know in time. But you get the feeling, because Pittsburgh wasn't panicking, you get the feeling that they knew it was going to be this. And so 100%. Now they're good to go. He showed up for his first offseason program right on time. Didn't have to. And so he's there. I just think right now they're just going to be their best version of themselves. There'll be interesting football to watch. And we'll see how it all plays out with Mike McCarthy, who he started with and had his most success with. So it's going to be interesting to see. And you may, we hope, we may get a humble version of Aaron Rodgers. Of course, we'll get that until no one blocks for him, and then he rips his players all over the field, which is
correct.
What quarterbacks probably do in a lot of ways. It just seems like when he does it, it just seems to have a lot more mustard on it for some reason.
It does. Well, I agree. It's going to be a nice bookend for him to come back with McCarthy. So yeah, I'm with you there. The schedule release is out and about. As a Broncos fan, I'm just like, potentially it could be very difficult. We always base things on the year before, but sometimes, a lot of times, it doesn't work out that way. So right now it looks pretty daunting. But what stood out for you, David, on the schedule release?
Well, several things. Yeah, and to your point, all we have is what we have. And
all we have is what we have. Yeah.
But most times, a lot of times, there are teams that will surprise you, which is why I think in the NFL, 15 to 20% of the playoff teams from the previous year, or the 15 to 20% new changes in the playoffs every year, roughly. Like the 7 teams that made it from each conference last year, of that, you probably will get maybe 10 of the 14 that'll be back, because there'll probably be 4 others that are in. But the prohibitive favorites in a lot of cases, there's so many variables, Rick, that can conjure up what makes a season. But knowing what we know, interestingly enough, the NFC East plays the AFC South and the NFC West this year. So my Dolphins has got to deal with the West. Got to deal with that Seattle and that Rams, and that Cardinals, and the Niners. And so when you start thinking about how this thing lines up, and some folks feel differently about it, the NFL has this part of the formula I admire. Wherever you live, if you're a fan of, say, the Denver Broncos, if you're a season ticket holder for an 8-year period, everybody that's in the league will have come through your arena. That's pretty good. That you know what? You're gonna be able to do it. And if you're a person who's got the means, every 4 years you can see them if you're willing to travel to go see them. It just depends on how it plays out. And then it also rates scheduling on where you rank in your division relative to the other parts of the league. That's why sometimes Denver may mess around and have to play the Rams all the time. Why have I got to play the Rams again?
Yeah.
Well, ones versus ones will play each other, especially in their own conference. Right. Maybe not so much across, but sometimes there's that. So that's why there was a stretch where Brett Favre kept playing the Cowboys and it was always in Dallas. We said, man, they are playing them every year. Well, just one of those weird deals. And then I was listening to, I think the guy's name is Mike North. He's involved. He's one of the NFL VPs who's in charge of the scheduling. There's so many things around the scheduling that we aren't as aware of. Arena availability. NFL teams can actually ask for certain things too, Rick. They can request certain things, venues being renovated, like poor Jacksonville. There is an 8-week stretch in the schedule, Rick, because they're renovating their schedule, that they'll play one home game from like September 28th to November 28th. Because they're renovating their schedule. They'll play 2 games in London. And this is a 13-3 team that won't have a home game for 8-game stretch.
Right.
It's crazy. But they knew that. Their season ticket holders knew that. And so that's one of those oddities. And then to finalize one of your questions about what stood out, number one strength of schedule, according to one report I saw, Chicago Bears, followed by the Miami Dolphins, Arizona Cardinals, Green Bay Packers, and the Kansas City Chiefs, based on winning percentage of teams from last year. So if you're the Chicago Bears, the other thing about the NFL is this. If you have a good year, you're going to have a harder schedule usually. So why the Miami Dolphins? Now you add it to the fact that they rotate divisions each year. And so you can be bad and then not get good quick, because if your rotation hits wrong in this case, you're going to have tough opponents. But it rotates itself in and out. Some years you've got division winners like the Patriots, or in this particular case, if you think about like Carolina, who's like the 10th hardest schedule, but you're also in a situation where you're like, okay, we're built to be able to play a tough schedule. And so it kind of works itself out that way, Rick. And then And then to think about the way the schedule is going to launch, you think about the opening weekend. The first game of the year is on a Wednesday this year. Yeah. So you got New England's playing Seattle because you're trying to offset that Niners-Rams game that's going to be in Australia. So they're playing that on a Thursday to give them an extra day to come back. So they've got the first game on Wednesday. So us football fans will get a Wednesday game, a Thursday game. The high school and college is a Friday, Saturday, and then the whole slate of Sunday games. And then your boys will close shop on Monday night as they get to go play the Chiefs in Kansas City, which didn't do you guys any favor. You win the conference or the division, and you're one step away from the Super Bowl. And here's your prize. You get to go play the Chiefs, which lets me think that and when Mike North, the schedule director for NFL, was asked what played into the fact that you guys put the Chiefs so early. Do you know if Mahomes is going to be healthy or not? And his answer was, either way, the Chiefs are a compelling story. It's a division game. You're playing against the Broncos. Even if it's Justin Fields, you find that's going to be a good game. And so if you're the Chiefs, you probably wouldn't have liked this game to be early, a division game and a home division game that you may not have Mahomes. So if you're Denver, in some ways, Rick, you can slide in there and steal that one that night, whether Mahomes is back or not himself. It's a chance for you to go 1-0 in the division, 1-0 on the road on a Monday night against a Chiefs team who's trying to figure out either the new Mahomes or Justin Fields. It's a chance to steal one. So, again, glass half full guy. Got to play them all anyway, and at least you don't have to go there when it's freezing cold with maybe a healthy Mahomes. But that's week one in a nutshell in terms of the spirit behind it. And there is a lot of energy around some of these teams, and I'll go through some of them in terms of how the NFL thought about with primetime games too.
Does all this international inclusion bother you a little bit? Like the Australian game, that is a long trip. And, there are people that say when they go there for pleasure, it takes them a few weeks to recover, right? I mean, you're sending, a big old plane, about 100 people. I mean, it just seems like the NFL is so eager to gobble up as many dollars as they can. They're not thinking of the players' best interest. And I know people are going to be like, woe is me. They get paid a lot of money. Players are now, by the way, balking at artificial turf, which I hope they keep pushing. I think they're going to get that done. But what's your feel on all this? I know the game's going to expand, and you and I know it's all about business. But, boy, some of this just seems illogical right now with how they're pushing this.
Well, I think we better belly up. It's going to be more. In other words, the latest that I'm hearing and reading is that they're going to get to a place. First of all, the 18-game schedule is going to come. And part of that's going to probably include 2 buys, which will also include everyone getting a piece of this international game situation. So we can have some parity in it. It's kind of what I'm sensing. That
Yeah.
So in other words, now listen, we should all be at church anyway. But if you happen to not be at church and there's an 8:30 or 9:30 game in the morning, not the worst thing for a fan to be able to have a game on that time of morning, especially the games that are in Europe. That if you're in London, that's like a cross-country-ish trip on some level. And if you give those teams a bye either on the front end or the back end, they've been doing that for a while now. I think folks are not loving it, but I think they recognize the impact. And the stadiums are packed. So it's not about fandom. They are filling up the arenas for it. Well, listen, I am more of a traditional fan. Give me my 1 o'clock, my 4 o'clock window. Give me my Sunday night game. That's fine.
Right.
If it's on at 9:30 in the morning, sometimes I forget. Oh yeah.
Me too. Oh, wait a minute. What? I see a game update in the second quarter. Oh,
yes. Jets, Saints. Okay. All right. Hey, it's on. I'll catch the second half of it or whatever. So it's that.
Jets, Saints.
I think it's 9 games this year. And some of these games, Rick, you listen, you got the Niners, Rams week 1. Look, you got the Ravens and Cowboys from Brazil. That's week 3.
See, and those 2 fan bases deserve that as a home. One of them.
Right. Well, but I think what has happened too is the NFL has been really clever with the 17-game schedule. Folks were used to 8 home games, sometimes 9. Well, in this particular case, I can't be sure if it took one of their home games or if it was the 17th game that still allows them to both have 8 home games. And this game is a 4:25 p.m. Eastern time start, the Brazil game. So it's not in a weird window. That game isn't. Then you've got in week 4, the Colts and Commanders are from the UK. That's a 9:30 game, all right? The other 9:30 game, you got Eagles and Jaguars, 2 playoff teams. That's a 9:30 game from the UK. The Texans and Jaguars, playoff teams, divisional game. Now, Jacksonville is needing to play these games. They're getting stadium repairs. That's a 9:30 game. Steelers and Saints, the aforementioned Saints, right? They're at a 9:30 game from France. Oui. So you got that game. That's October 18th, week 6. You start to get down into week 10. Patriots, Lions from Munich, Germany, another 9:30 game. So other than the Ravens Cowboys game and the Rams Niners game week 1, all the games are 9:30 a.m. games. I think this. I think if we were to look at the data and see what's the long-term effect of it, I would be interested to know if it's realized, if it's real, or if it's not. Needless to say, football players are creatures of habit. They love their rhythm, Rick, and to go abroad, to be gone, you have to go there days, weeks, almost a week in advance. I think last year, the Vikings stayed 2 weeks. I think Jacksonville usually will sometimes have got back-to-back games, week 5 and week 6. They're just camped out.
They just live there. Let's just live here for a while.
They just got to go over there and hang out. And so their case is a bit unique, but for everybody else, it's got to be an adjustment, especially the week 1 Rams and the Niners, where you're flying halfway across the world and you've got to come back. And then the Niners have to play that Sunday. They gave the Rams the luxury of playing on Monday night. So that's a Thursday game. And then they have to play till the next Sunday and Monday if you're the Rams. So you get an extra day. Meanwhile, the Ravens-Cowboys game in Brazil in week 3 is the only game that is a non-9:30 game after the first one. So Rick, I think it's going to be more. They're not talking like they're going to stop them.
No, they're
and
not.
So and cash rules everything. And so I believe they're just going to keep stacking it up. And that week 18 is going to play a role in that. And I think that's when everybody's going to get a piece of this action.
And I believe that Goodell and the owners want to have an international Super Bowl, and that's when I think this country may have revolt a little bit. That would be taking it a little too over the edge.
You can't do that. You can't.
I hope not. I hope
can't
not.
do that. No, I think stay where you are and enjoy this. I mean, there are teams in this, cities in this country hadn't gotten it yet. There's no real need or appetite. It's not like you're struggling here to get Super Bowls filled.
Exactly.
So I don't think that would take a whole lot of stuff to get that to happen. I don't think there's any need. And they love to reward new stadiums. You just saw where Nashville's getting the 2031. That's been reported for a while, and it was official this week. So there's plenty of places that can host Super Bowls here right now. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I think we'll be fine. I don't think there's any need for that because your core and your base and your sponsors are all right here. I don't think no one needs to go domestic. I mean, they need to stay right here. Keep Super Bowls here. There's plenty of places to host them.
Yes, I agree.
I will tell you. I will say this though, Rick, if I may. This year's Monday night schedule might be as good a Monday night schedule as I've seen in a long, long time, and it was shocking to me because for years the Monday night games, kind of take it or leave it, hadn't been quite what we thought they'd be. But you got Denver, Kansas City, the Giants, which. Everyone seems to love the Giants, including me. I think I told you. I think they'll win the division. I think they'll win the division. I saw this week where Harbaugh was speaking to. They were having like a Giants reunion, and he stood up there and he was talking about, we're about to go and deal with Dallas. He kind of challenged it, almost kind of in that whole coach speak thing. All right, so now he's taking off a bite, but Harbaugh's not afraid. I think to me he is ideal for the New York Giants. It's ideal. And Tomlin going to Sunday Night Football. We're going to still get our Tomlin fix, and so that's going to work great. But, Rick, you got the Giants and Rams week 2, Eagles and Bears week 3. You got the Falcons Saints, which is division game week 4, and I believe that game may be on the 20-year anniversary of the return to the Superdome. If you recall when they had Katrina, I think it's going to be a kind of an anniversary game. Remember the block kick when the place went crazy? I'm not sure if that's the actual game, but there could be something around that. Buffalo and the Rams, Washington and the Niners. And these are great games on paper, assuming everybody's okay. Dallas and the Eagles, Bears and Seattle, Buffalo and the Vikings, Chargers and Baltimore. I mean, these are lined up to be really good games. And so for those of us that are sleep deprived and have to get up and do a show at 6 a.m, that guy right there, y'all, he's going to have some real decisions to make around how many of these games he's going to make. And maybe by then, y'all, we can get him on some of this. He might need some of this. It's coffee, Rick. You got it everywhere you want it to be. You trying to do that water. I don't know how you do it. We might need to get back. Yeah, good for you.
You proud of it? Hey, look, by the way, you appreciate it. Look, the Broncos.
Of course it's a Bronco. Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. It's either going to be it's either going to be that, a Gradishar or an Elway or Tom Jackson. There you go. I'm not mad at you. The authentic one. Gosh, did you get that in the Burger King kit back in the day when you bought a Whopper?
I actually got that one of my visits when I was watching the Broncos. And early on in Invesco, I was watching them play. It was a home game, and I had tickets, and I flew out there for Tennessee. So with my peeps, so I got that when I was out there.
That's pretty good. So interestingly enough, Rick, we went over all the Monday schedule. We talked about who has the toughest schedule. And then the NFL did some of the teams a lot of favors. So I started to look at this thing and I said, well, let's see what they did for the team that won it all. And so for those who forgot, that was Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl last year. They were awarded them 7 primetime games this year.
Of course.
7, as they should, 7 primetime games, including at Denver, week 6. They've got 3 straight 8 o'clock games at Denver versus the Chiefs and versus Chicago. So it's not like it's easy. That's going to be a challenge when you think about what Seattle has. The New England Patriots, the runner-up in the Super Bowl, they have 5 primetime games this year against the at Seattle game to start week 1, week 7 at Chicago, at the Chargers, home for Minnesota, and at the Chiefs on a Monday night in week number 15. Dallas Cowboys, it doesn't matter what they do. They're going to get the love, Rick, right? They've got 6 games at 8 o'clock-ish, and they've got 4 o'clock games, plus they get the Thanksgiving game. Dallas is the brand that always performs. Their ratings juggernaut, and we're going to see exactly how they do. And of course, they open with the Giants. Then they're home against Washington and Baltimore. Its game is in Brazil. Then they're at Houston, Tampa, and then at Green Bay. So that's just a couple of examples as to what some of those teams are going to deal with. And then I couldn't help but think about you. I said, well, let me look at Rick's boys. I said, let's see what we got. So of course, you all are playing the AFC East this year. You recognize that, and the NFC West. Right?
Yeah, boy.
All of your AFC East games are after December 6th. All of the games are after December 6th. And so you're talking about playing Miami at 4:05 on week number 13, December 6th. And then here's your layup is at the Jets. Now,
maybe.
Again, yeah. Well, if Geno is not Geno, we're going to see. You got them. And then you're at the Raiders, a 4:25 start on December 20th. And then there you are on Christmas against Buffalo. There's that game. It is at home though against Buffalo. And then it's a flex game at New England on the 17th week of the season. So all your AFC East are bundled in the back end. You got 2 division games out of your last. I think that's 5. I'm sorry. Let's see. Most of your division games are done by November 22nd. You only got 1 division game after that. So you'll have a pretty decent situation set up, and then you got Miami, Jets, Raiders, Buffalo, New England, Chargers. So there's 2 games in there. It's 2 out of the last 4, that are division games. And so it's just that front end of the schedule for you all. Chiefs, Jacksonville, Rams, Niners, Chargers. That's your first 5 right out the gate.
Oh, I know. Yeah. We might be done. We might be done before the second month of the season gets here.
So there's and then the Chiefs, and then there's the Chiefs, Rick. Everybody loves the Chiefs and wants to see what they're going to do. You got 6 8 o'clock games. They've got 6 8 o'clock games, including the Thanksgiving game. For them, it's all about one thing. Is Mahomes okay or is he not? I think that'll drive a lot of the energy around what that's going to be and so on and so forth. And then there's a lot of curiosity around the Ravens. We all just keep waiting on them to take the next step. Like the Eagles have done it. The Chiefs have done it. Your Broncos have taken a step. The Patriots have done it. And the Ravens have been to championship games and have not crossed the hurdle. Okay, so they're going to change the coach. Everyone talks about the new energy. If not now, when for them? I think their fan base is also in a situation where they're saying, look, we've been kind of doing this thing for a while now, and the core is still here, and everyone's excited and energized about it. When are we going to make a move here? And I'll leave you with this one, Rick. The Arizona Cardinals have done nothing to anybody, But the schedule makers and the gods this year,
except their own fans.
The way that Rick, yeah, exactly. They can't even get. Listen, you got Jacoby Brissett holding out. At best, he's a serviceable backup. They can't even get him into camp, and so LaFleur's baby brother is going to find out real quick what that's all about. But listen to the schedule that the Cardinals has to deal with. So they're at the Chargers, home for Seattle, at the Niners, at the Giants, home for the Lions, at the Rams, home for the Broncos, at Dallas, at Seattle, home for the Rams, at the Chiefs, home for the Commanders, home for Philly, and then they get a bye week. Rick, they could be 0-13. They could be before they get to a bye. In the back end of the schedule, there's Jets at Saints, home for the Raiders, and home for the Niners. Rick, I think I read where they're an underdog in every game, every single game. Now,
it's wild.
That's a impossible schedule, and it doesn't have to be. If that wasn't the Cardinals, you would say, boy, that's a gauntlet right there. But because it's them, that's an impossible schedule. But sometimes, man, the way it falls out is the way it falls out, 100%.
Yeah, you could have a franchise quarterback, half Dan Marino, half John Elway, and that would be daunting. Much less what they're going through, quarterback.
If you go 9-8 with that group, you would say to yourself, "That's the best season anyone could have had."
Coach of the year, Mr. LaFleur
That
Jr.
right there is legit. That's exactly right. Yeah, buddy. But so that's always fun to go through the schedules. It's like we already knew who they were going to play, but when you see it on paper and you start to understand what's a weather game, what are my division games lining up. Start to bake into the travel and when the buys line up. It all says one thing, Rick, that we don't have any idea how it's going to end at all. Yeah. And we just do our best, brother. We just do our best.
Well, it is. It's out there now, and we'll see how camps go and what's going on with that. Next week, I want to talk to you a little bit about the players are finally digging in and getting grass. And I think it's going to be something that is going to actually happen going forward. I think the NFL – shot itself in the foot by allowing all these international soccer leagues who are coming here to play the World Cup in NFL stadiums saying, we're not playing on that crap. Our guys don't play on that. We take – okay. Well, now the Player Association is saying, all right, look at the trouble they're going to and the expense. You're doing it for them, but we have to come play on these black pebbles and all this stuff flying up and this stuff that won't give when we take a step. Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be a battle to keep an eye on going forward, and I hope they win it. I hope the players.
Good luck to them on it because turf. It used to be way worse. I mean, it used to be
concrete.
But so they've made strides in it, Rick. But to me, is this: if the players are asking for it and they can get it done, I think a lot of the stadiums now, even the dome stadiums, you're able to grow it outside, move it in.
Yep.
And I think if it can be done in one, it can be done in all. And that should be a concession the NFL wants to do and needs to do. And to me, I'm for it if these players take enough shots without hitting the ground. To imagine hitting the ground and the joints could survive a lot better with it. And so if you've proven you can do it, now you can't really hide behind it. So
no, they can't lie about it anymore. Right.
Yeah, we can chat more about that. I look forward to that.
Yeah,
man.
We will.
And you've been on that from the jump, so stay on it.
I have. It bothers me. All right, brother. Great stuff as always. Great to have you, man. Great to see you. I hope you and the fam have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You do the same, brother. Great to be back on with you, buddy. We'll talk next week.
All right, man. Stay safe. Tell everybody say hello.
All right, buddy. Do the same.
All right, man. There you go. David Smith, our NFL correspondent. Great stuff from Dave. We miss him when he's not here. Good breakdown of the schedule. Man, that Cardinal schedule. What in the world? The Cardinals? Why? Is that just a cruel joke that they're just the Cardinals? Well, let's just do this. Who cares anyway, right? Andy Bitter, Matt Roan, and Dwight Vick. Man, what a show. David Smith, Andy Bitter. You're welcome, America. Yeah, I saw that, Mr. Pry. Yeah, New England's first month is tough, too. Plus, they got all this distraction with Vrabel. We'll see what all happens there. Good stuff, as always, from David Smith. It's a good question, Wayne, about Saquon Barkley. Yeah, 29. He didn't look nearly as motivated, did he, last year as he had the year before and everything. Things just got off the rails a little bit with that team. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Keep the chat rolling. Chat's been great all week, man. It's been a lot of fun. All right, joining us now on the program. There you go. He's Andy Better. He's the lead writer for Textile Line. What's up, AB? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing all right, man. Getting ready for Memorial Day weekend. You got any big plans? What's your Memorial Day weekend going to look like?
Pretty tame, I think. I think we're just hanging around here. Still have like 4 days of school left for my daughter after that. So it's kind of weird. Like normally they're done by Memorial Day. So strange season.
That's true. That's a good point. I guess there was that many snow days. Is that what it was this year?
No, I think it's just an early Memorial Day. Usually it's like May 30th or something like that, but it's pretty early on the calendar this time.
Well, I know a lot of folks. We had Mr. Till on Wednesday. People really got into your podcast and this segment. He had the search for the AD. He brought some interesting points there, right, that a lot of people hadn't thought of. It's gotten a lot of buzz here on this show, man, what you guys came up with on Wednesday with David. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think of what we talked about this week on the AD. Remind me what we talked about. I'm trying to.
Well, he brought up the McCarthy name and his reasoning for it. And when you look at it, he made a lot of salient points. It makes a lot of sense in some ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I'd still be surprised if they went that direction. And I know there's a lot of people on the board that would like McCarthy, but I think maybe the people that we thought were in charge of this thing maybe don't have as much of a firm grip over it. I mean, you look at Rokovich comes out. I think he said initially they wanted to be in by July 1st. Having a new president, I feel like there's a lot of behind the scenes movement, and hey, this can move fast. And there's other powers at the university that are like, whoa, pump the brakes here on this thing a little bit. And now people are saying it's going to be a longer process. Hiring a search firm, taking a lot of time. And I think that, this isn't like a football coaching search, or it isn't like an AD search where there's just like 3 or 4 people that really have their hands around this thing. I think this is one where a lot of people at the university have a lot of interest in this whole thing, and they're going to, throw their weight around on this and aren't going to be, I don't want to say bullied necessarily, but aren't going to be run over in this process. They're going to get their say. So, we'll see. Again, I'm not sitting here acting like I'm an expert on presidential searches. I don't know how they, all the behind the scenes machinations and all this stuff. But I know they typically take some time. And the fact that this is going to take some time means that I think they're going to vet quite a few people on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It just feels like an overall pumping of the brakes a little bit on both processes, you think? Or
no, I just think I think the board just wanted to be go, and they wanted to get things done. And hey, this is going to happen fast. And I just don't know if you hire a school president fast. And I think if you do, you maybe run into some problems on the back end of that whole thing. I think you look at like University of Florida and some of the stuff going on down there right now. I mean, it's not just a mess, it's also an expensive mess. And there's a lot of money, and they're paying, I think the guy down there is like $4 million for 1 year just being there. It's like, this isn't a football coach thing here. Like, don't throw around this money, willy-nilly on this whole thing. I think you have to get the hire right, and it has to be a deliberative process. And it is certainly, there's going to be some sort of politics involved in it, because there always is. But there's just a lot of moving parts with this whole thing. I think it will take a while.
And as David was talking about, looks like the AD is definitely going to come first, before the president. So I don't know how active the president can be if there's already an AD here, but we'll see how that alignment that James Franklin talks about a lot, how that develops over time with whoever the 2 people are that come in here.
Yeah, so. I think they'll find a way to make that work. And I don't know. I don't feel like they hired the AD first, and therefore the AD and the president will not get along. People get along. People can work together. Just that it won't be like a direct line that the president was in before they're hiring this AD. Because I think you do have to get an AD in first. And you look at how they've structured this whole thing. Witt is retiring in a little over a month here. That's a firm date that he's out of here. Tim Sands has said he'll stay on until the next president is hired. So it's not like that is end of June and he's out of here. He's here until somebody else is in place. So that gives them a little bit more runway of finding somebody else. So, yeah, I think the AD has to come first at this point because you've got a football season to worry about. And if they didn't have a school president in place by, the end of August, that wouldn't surprise me. But it would surprise me if they didn't have an AD by that point.
A lot of folks excited about the recruiting buzz. Some of these high schoolers that are coming, the latest being the running back out of Texas. A lot of depth potentially being created, a lot of log jams at position, but a good problem to have with all this, ranked high talent. We'll see how it plays out. But
yeah, I mean, it's recruiting. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, this quarterback, a very nice recruit that they got, Peter Bork. I think highest since Tyrod Taylor. First top 100 since Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. It depends on how you classify Logan Thomas, who was really an athlete when he was coming out of high school. That said, who was the last high school quarterback that they recruited that has started games here? I mean, Pop Watson started 2.
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah.
You probably have to go back to Hendon Hooker. Before that, Josh Jackson, I think, unless I'm skipping somebody in the process there. It's just, you get a log jam there, and I feel like quarterback, you're always bringing in transfers. And 4 weeks ago, everybody was talking about Troy Hewn.
I know
the future of the pro. And now, we're done with him. We're on the
we don't want to.
So okay, so I kind of look at recruiting a little bit like that. But yes, it's important to stack that talent, and that has been a problem for previous coaches here. Is you have one guy you feel pretty good about, but if he doesn't work out, what are the guys behind him like? And I think that's always what the success of those SEC schools and the real successful Big Ten ones is. Okay, they recruit really well, and say a 5-star guy doesn't work out. Well, they just have a 5-star guy behind him, right? It's just the math works out that somebody's going to hit eventually. And I think that's always been James Franklin's thing. You look at his time at Penn State and some of the running back rooms that he put together. And, so the depth of talent that they have, I think you need to have that because in a micro sense, recruiting rankings, I don't want to say they don't matter, but there is some volatility to them. Like a single recruit can succeed and fail, and that happens all the time. In a macro sense, if you recruit top 10 classes or top 20 classes over and over, you will have enough depth of talent to, overcome that variance and then have a very successful squad. So yes, recruiting, very important. And they're on a heater right now, but I find it very tough to get all too excited about individual recruits. Especially when you look at the transfer portal, the number of guys that don't even last a couple of years.
Yeah, me too. I take the exact same. It's great. It looks great on paper, but let's see how it all plays out. But the good news, and I think this is true, and I reminded Chad, nothing else, it shows you that Tech now financially can go out and bid on these kids too. These high school kids that have their hand that we found out from the coaches here on the program. I mean, this isn't a free ride like in the old days. They're asking for certain amounts of money as well. So it shows you, as you've talked about, in the money now, not only with portal kids, but now you're able to go out and compete for some of these higher upper echelon high school kids. So,
and it'll be interesting with Franklin. It's like, yes, you have to get the high school kids, but you also have to retain them a couple of years once they get here. So you're committing to paying them now, but then paying them even through probably a redshirt season.
Yeah, that's a good
especially
point.
at a place like Virginia Tech, and then even at another season, beyond that, as they're trying to compete for jobs. I mean, it's not unusual at Virginia Tech to not compete for a job until your sophomore, junior year. And I guess that was true at Penn State too. But, I think it'll be interesting to see the approach because I know Franklin doesn't want to build this team through the portal. He wants to build it through high school recruiting. And I felt like that was maybe a little bit different approach than how Brett Pry had to do things when he was taking huge, transfer classes all the time to try to keep the roster flush on the back end of things.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. We'll see. And maybe he'll build it up enough to where the relationship matters more to these kids than, we think, but I still think it comes down to what they're going to be able to get and not get that, that's just the way it is.
I mean, the relationship could be like, father, son. And if somebody's offering me $1 million more, I'd be like, sorry, Dad, I got to go to this other place.
Sorry, Dad.
It's just the reality of the situation.
Brandon asks, AB, have you formed an opinion yet on the outlook for the coming season? I guess he's asking about the record and so. Have you taken time to look at it yet? Your best guess? I know it's early and kind of impossible to say, but
yeah, I'm sort of in the 7-5 range. I know that's people are gonna be like, oh, there you go, pessimistic again. I don't think the schedule's easy. I don't think the ACC did Virginia Tech any favors with this schedule. Right? You know, look at they play on the road at Clemson, they play on the road at SMU, and on the road at Miami. Back end of the year, they get Virginia at home. Virginia was an 11-win team last year, and I don't think they're just going to fall off the face of the earth in 1 year. You know, other challenging games in there: Georgia Tech, Pitt at home. I don't think those are gimmies. Cal on the road, I think is a tough game. With the quarterback they have back. I mean, you look at SMU going over there last year, needing to win a game to get to the ACC title game, and Cal beat them up, won that game. I don't think Maryland's an easy game on the road. I know people are looking at that one and say, Maryland was 4-8. It's like, well, Tech was 3-9 last year,
right,
and Maryland has a pretty good quarterback. They're playing on the playing at home in that game. So I think there are enough 50-50 games this year that I think it might be a struggle to get up in the 8-9 win range where a lot of people are expecting. So I think 7-5, and I think you look at James Franklin's history. And first year Vanderbilt was okay. Then he kind of got things rolling. First 2 years at Penn State were just okay. Then he really got things rolling at Penn State. I don't know if he's the immediate instant success type of coach at a place. He's a slow build a little bit. And I think some of that comes from his approach because he didn't go out and get 25 transfers that were all seniors that were all going to start. You look at some of the, a bunch of the guys, at least half the guys he got have multiple years of eligibility left, and sometimes 3 or 4 from the transfer portal. Those aren't guys that come in and you go, oh, that's a plug and play starter that you have on this lineup. So I think a lot of it is going to have to be development from within what this program had previously. Obviously, a lot of guys they brought in that are going to start as well. But I don't look at this team and go, this is instant ACC contender right away. That's not me saying they're not going to get there, because I do think they will get there under Franklin eventually, though.
And we found out specifically those SMU Miami dates, right? That SMU game's on a Friday, right? Is that correct?
Friday, SMU, Miami will be on a Saturday.
Road games, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the Friday games. It just opens up my Saturday watch. I guess if it's on the road, I'd be traveling on a Saturday, so that doesn't work out. It only works well when those are home games on Friday for me to get over it.
Well, I got to get your take, because I know you got a lot of feelings about the 24-game schedule. And, man, this back and forth. I mean, Tony Petitti's all in, the Big Ten, just, hey, we're gushing over this thing. David talked about there's kind of a, the SEC saying, they're lining up with ESPN, obviously, kind of counter it. And then David brought up the point, the Alabama AD, those going public saying, hey, we want the 24 team. How do you think this is going to settle here? Is it going to be sooner than later?
I don't know. They're going to screw it up, whatever. I heard the Big Ten the guy was talking about, let's make Minnesota, Iowa matter at the end of the season. And it's like, I feel like you're defeating the argument right there. Minnesota, Iowa shouldn't matter. Like it could matter if those are both really good teams, but why do we need to artificially make this matter? And again, I feel like they're insulting college football fans by saying that if you just slap a college football playoff logo on some mid-tier bowl games, that all of a sudden those have grand importance. Oh, it's number 16 versus 17 in the college football playoff. It's like, no, those are two mediocre. I mean, mediocre is a bad way to say it. 16 and 17 in the country. Those are pretty good teams, but they're not like playoff caliber. And I think the way I've been trying to think of how my opposition to this, how I would phrase it. I feel like a playoff game, every playoff game that takes place, you should ask yourself, would College Game Day go to this game? Would College Day consider this in a regular week a big enough game to go to it? And if it's not, I don't think you should deem it playoff worthy. And if you add an extra round of games and 9's playing 24 and 10's playing 23, I don't think College Game Day would go to those games. I don't think those would be big enough games in a given week for College Game Day to go there. Whereas 5 versus 12, 6 versus 11, I could see that. And maybe even those matchups wouldn't be good enough if you have teams like JMU and Tulane in it. I think the solution to this thing is just straight seeding. Just go 1 to 12. They'd be like, oh, Notre Dame could have won it all last year. Well, Notre Dame was ranked 11th, so just put them in a 12-team field, and you've solved half your problem right there. We don't need to include a bunch of four-loss Big Ten SEC teams and say, the brutal schedule that they play. It's not always that brutal. They just beat a bunch of teams that aren't that good. Right. Lose to the ones they should, and then they're going to get to a playoff and again lose to the teams they should because they've demonstrated during the season that they're not good enough to beat those teams. So I think it's just adding a layer and a round of football that is they're acting like it'll be important, but it won't really be important because I don't think any of those teams will seriously contend for the national title.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's gonna be about money. It's just wild. It's just the whole thing. And you hit around the. I don't have any. I'm so jaded. Nothing they decide is going to be the right decision, right?
I just think it's tearing at the fabric of college football. What makes it good? And like I do kind of like championship week. I don't know why people are hating on championship week so much. Those are really fun games. Those are some of the best games of the season. And it builds up to this climax of a season where you're determining a champion in your conference, which should matter. Like hanging banners should matter. That's an experience for college football players that I think is special. And I think if you ask Virginia Tech players of the past, that won conference titles, if they remember that, of course they remember that. Those are big moments. And I think you really get rid of conference champions altogether if you remove this thing because
I agree.
As I've said before, these leagues are too big and the schedules are too different within the leagues that one team's 8-0 is not the same or might not be better than another team's 7-1. And I think you look last year at Virginia in the ACC caught a schedule break.
100%.
Great season, don't get me wrong, but they caught a schedule break. And I don't know if their 7-1 was necessarily head and shoulders above 6-2, but if you don't play a championship game at the end of the year, then you just give it to the 7-1. And I don't like that as much. I like having that game at the end of the year to decide it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you made that point, and I've thought about it. What happens? Even if you have two teams tied, one team may have gone through a gauntlet, and one may have just kind of gotten lucky. And hey, we showed up, had a great year.
It's most likely they didn't play each other.
Right?
Right.
And
so you'll have a lot of co-champions and this kind of
stuff.
thing.
So yeah, who's going to be the champion? Yeah, I don't know. And then how do you seed them? How do you seed them accordingly going forward? I don't know. It's very, very interesting.
It comes down to whether they can get enough money for these faux playoff games.
Yeah,
I think they've said they're losing like the championship weekend games are worth about $200 million. So can you generate that kind of revenue from the new round of games? And I guess there'd be, is it 4 more games? My math is off on stuff. So however many games, because I think they're adding a bunch more teams. But you add a whole new layer, a new round of games. Can that equal $200 million? And that's the math problem with it. They don't want to go to 16. The Big Ten doesn't.
No.
And I think 16 creates a similar problem to 24 because what's the incentive of trying to win your conference at that point? You wouldn't be able to have that bye week for conference champions. So nobody would want to play in those games anyway because you wouldn't get a chance to rest anybody. It's a mess of their own making. They just went to 12 2 years ago. Let's just leave it at 12 for a while. Try it out. You fix the home field advantage in 1 year, fix the seeding at the same time, fix the seeding again, and maybe you like this thing. Give it some chance to grow. Because once you go to 24, you can't go back. Nothing ever shrinks.
No,
it only gets bigger. And I'm afraid that they're going to go to 24 past 12 when 12 seems to work. and then they could get to 24 and be like, this isn't that good, but we're not going back. And then we're stuck with a bad playoff system.
Yeah, the only thing that shrinks is Costanza when he's in the pool. That's the only thing.
Right. Exactly.
Finally, let me ask you, because we had a couple people ask during the week. You think if it had been anybody but Notre Dame, right, who picked up their ball, kicked the dirt, and went back home because they didn't want to, do you think this would have been pushed as aggressively as it seems to be, this playoff expansion, after just, like you said, just 2 years we've had it?
Yeah, I think it would. I mean, what if Alabama got left out? SEC be crying foul. Oh, nobody plays the gauntlet we did. I think Texas is looking at the same thing, even though I didn't think Texas was that good last year.
No.
Even some of the wins they had weren't impressive over some of these teams. I think, again, they had 2 don't sue us teams last year because the ACC screwed up its championship and how it chose its champion. And so they had Tulane and JMU in. And frankly, I don't think either one deserved to play for the national championship. But, contractually, that's how it worked out. So they got in. They really only allow one of those group of 5 teams in because they don't want to get sued in this whole process. But don't have 2 of them. Just figure this thing out. So Tulane gets in, but then the 11 seed was Notre Dame. And I think, a 6-11 game between Notre Dame and whoever was the 6 Ole Miss, that would have been a great game. Instead, they had 2 games in that first weekend that I barely watched. I didn't watch Tulane Ole Miss. That was a blowout.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Oregon JMU. I turned it off at halftime, I'm pretty sure. Because neither of those games felt like playoff games. And I think when we say if they expand to 24, more involvement and more teams, there's just going to be more teams that I don't think can compete for a national championship. And I'll probably watch because I'm a football degenerate, but I'm not going to be excited about watching those games.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be like just a regular season game early in the season, right? Oh, okay. It's football. I'll watch this then. I'll watch this matchup. But yeah, I think a lot of fans are going to feel that. We'll find out what the ratings and so forth. The numbers will tell us a lot. Well, good stuff, brother, as always. I hope you and the fam have a good extended weekend here, whatever you might. You're right. Sometimes the best Memorial Day weekends are just to chill at home, make food, and just chill out, right?
I say that it's going to rain all weekend.
Yeah, I know it's going to rain all weekend.
We got to get out of here. We got to get out of this place.
All right, man. Stay safe. Good job, AB. Thanks, brother.
All right.
All right, man. Take care. Yep. Andy Better joining us on the program. Matt Roan going to hook up with us here pretty quickly. Yep. We'll get him on, the director of athletics at James Madison. I tend to think, I know the power Notre Dame wields. I think the other way. I think if it weren't Notre Dame, and maybe I'm wrong, it feels like to me, because Notre Dame made such a big deal out of it, even after the whole thing. And they're already allowed to be different than everybody else. They've already been given. Look how the response came. The response came what? Notre Dame, if you finish in the top 11, you're in the playoff. Doesn't matter who you play. Doesn't matter what you do. You're in. This will never happen to you again. We're so sorry. We are so, so very sorry you had your feelings hurt. They already have every concession. They have their own TV network. They're allowed to be part of all this because they're Notre Dame. They're the most powerful entity in college football. And I believe if it would have been even Alabama, if it would have been LSU, Michigan, I don't believe we'd have had this expedited process to expand it. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying that's factual. That's my opinion. I think Notre Dame controls so much that because look how quickly they got the concession of where they finished ranked. Now, they took a beating. They took a PR beating, and people who aren't Notre Dame people thought they came across very immature, came across just so self-absorbed. But I don't know. I do know the power they wield, though. No other school in the country, SEC, Big Ten, or otherwise, could do what Notre Dame is allowed to do because of their legacy. Dwight Vick talks about his legacy and, the legacy of Victory Life all the time. And their legacy puts them in a different category. It just does. It just does. And you may not agree with that. And if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you may not understand that. But we talk about it here, college football fans. You understand. We all understand their importance and where they are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Matt Roan going to join us, Director of Athletics at James Madison. We're going to talk to him about all these reports that are going on about, now you see universities, man, they're not shying away from showing you how much money that they're losing above athletics. This whole thing just feels like it's becoming a house of cards, a money laundering scheme, as I was told a couple months ago. It all seems to be right. And then Dwight Vick, and he and I are going to make a dual announcement today. Dun, 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 dun. Thanks to all of our sponsors, by the way. Appreciate them. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply since 1997. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. The NRB Super Bowl, it's where we're going to have our bash. They've been part of the community for 25 years, 382-5525. Reserve your lane today. Sundown. Is that Gordon Lightfoot? Sundown Electric, our excellent reputation of satisfied clients attests to superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication, honest, and integrity. ReadySetFund.com. That's Bob Chris, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Your group or organization can earn money very quickly. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams up in Dublin, 38 years in business. His dad started, and they've taken it to national levels. So good at what they do. Residential, commercial garage doors. National Bank member FDIC, Larry Ramsey, thank you. My personal banking partner and this program's exclusive banking partner. The attorney Ryan Pry, our BDST fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Charles Lee, get them on your schedule to check out your heating and air units, because guess what? It's now going to be warm for a while. Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program each and every week, thanks to Jonathan Sweet and to Tim Miller. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner. Get a free quote. It's fencing time. 540-200-8294. And Mark Hunley McClellan Chiropractic, 155 Walters Drive. He's the sponsor of our chat room, which is just always popping. And I do mean always popping. And don't forget that I will be next Thursday here with the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce with James Franklin. So come out and see us. We'll be at the Warm Hearth Village from 8 to 9. That's a week from today. All right. Keep your comments coming in chat. Joining us now on the program, he might be the busiest man in America in college athletics. He's Matt Rowe, Director of Athletics at James Madison. What's up, brother?
How are you?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Keeping your head on a swivel?
We are. We're on the road this week, and it's caravan season, so Richmond Monday.
Wow.
Northern Virginia Tuesday. We were in Roanoke last night. That's where I woke up this morning, and we're about to jump on 81 here in a minute and finish up things this night or this week and tonight in Charlotte, and having a good time so far.
Yeah, how's that going? I know Mike Burnip's talked about that's what they're doing right now as well. How do those go now for you guys on there? It's a good thing to hear that the Dukes are doing that. That's cool.
They're going well. I will tell you, it seems like they're a lot more crowded this year.
Yeah, I bet.
And they walk past me and our two basketball coaches. Everybody wants to talk to Coach Napier, but that's who the autographs and the photos come from this year. But no, it's great. It's, as I shared last night, we had a gentleman from the Fox station here in Roanoke come out and was doing an interview with him. And, we ask people to come to Harrisonburg all the time, right? Come support us at games and events. And when we're on the road playing, right, we want people to show up. But it's nice to be able to go to people where they are. We ask fans and donors and alums like, hey, come see us, come support us. And to meet them in their neighborhood is always pretty special for us, and it's great to see. It's my third year doing it now at JMU, but to see the numbers continue to grow, right, and the engagement, the questions continue to grow, and so just always a fun week for us to get out. It's great for us to be able to spend a little time with one another as well, to slow it down and not be sitting across the table from one another, but to be sitting truly. We're calling it a caravan. We're on a bus. All of us are on a bus this year, so we'll be going past exit 98 in Dublin here in about an hour or so, and we'll finish it out with Charlotte tonight.
You got to stop and say, "Hey, can we go see my old digs? Let's go see Ken J. Dobson Stadium. Let's go through the locker room, man."
I might have to take him on Jewel Avenue and let him know where everything started for me. But,
absolutely.
No, it was. I shared this with our crowd last night. I said, I love the Shenandoah Valley, but before I knew that valley, right, it was the New River and the Roanoke that I grew to love, and I didn't realize this in the moment, but somebody asked me about playing at Victory Stadium, right? And I listed every high school except Salem. And I think I did it on purpose. But no, we had a good time last night here in Roanoke.
Well, you described the difference. Talk about what you've noted. You mentioned the buzz, the excitement, the natural energy with Coach Napier and what you guys have accomplished. I mean, you've got to just sit back and just be thrilled to death to see that. And how is he responding to getting all this attention coming in here?
Well, I'll tell you, he is as great as our crowds are. He said he's seen them maybe a little bit bigger from time to time, but he's great, right? I will tell you, before he's coached a game, and Rick, I might have shared this with you before, there's no doubt that we found the right person, right? The right leader, the right man that pours into the development of student athletes on and off the field. I have every belief that he's a great coach, right? He's going to win a lot of football games for us this year, but how he engages with our fan base, right? How open he is, how receptive to their questions, and gives them thoughtful answers. I really do appreciate, sitting beside him on a stage, but he's as advertised. I mean, going and watching the different phases of the spring, from off-season workouts to OTAs to spring ball now, giving the guys a few weeks off, and the plan for this summer to really refine football, to pour into more leadership, right? I've always said in this day and age, you have to be able to recruit, you have to be able to develop or evaluate, you have to be able to develop, but it's those that can accumulate that talent and build a team as quickly as they can. Those are the ones that get to the CFP next year. And I can see already, right? He's about the right things and he's doing the right things. And we're going to be successful this fall because of it.
Did you come out of spring okay? I mean, everybody pretty excited, healthy, I guess, is the main thing. All work accomplished and so forth. Coach Napier's first time is with the spring team down in Harrisonburg.
Yeah, I think we got 5 plays in during our spring game before the lightning rolled in. So the best kind of spring game's a healthy spring game. So nobody got hurt with that one. But no, I think, I've heard him say it the last few nights. We did get better as a football team this spring. But thankfully there's still plenty of time to continue to get better. A lot of championships are going to be won in June and July, even before you get to training camp in August. And so there's plenty of time left and it's available. And we had a good spring though, really positive.
Well, you mentioned the playoff, and this push to 24 is happening pretty quickly. Right now, the only one that seems to be kind of reneging a little bit is the SEC. I think that's going to change. But what are your thoughts overall? Of course, JMU last year crashed the party with your terrific season and went up to Eugene and had a big second half. How do you see this affecting college? For me, I don't see the doom and gloom of it that other people seem to be kind of, this is going to less. I don't feel that way. I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
It's a really good question. I will say, back to your original point, this is only going to happen, right? Whether it's 16 or whether it's 24 in the system that we have created.
Yes.
If Petiti and Greg Sankey can agree that they want to go to 16 or 24, right? So ESPN, Rick Watson, Matt Rohn, we can have ideas, we can have opinions, but it's the presidents of the SEC, it's the presidents of the Big Ten, it's the commissioners of those two leagues that will ultimately decide whether we go to 16 to 24. I've seen Big Ten commissioner Wright come out and talk about if we would have had a 24 team field, I'm gonna make up a year, but since the CFP was founded, right? If it would have been a 24 team all along instead of 4, and now 12, I think 80 football programs would have been able to have banners inside of their stadium saying we were a college football playoff participant. So when it's increasing opportunities, and I know we're not for participation trophies, but when it is increasing opportunities that people can truly compete for a national championship, that's several more teams even outside of the Power 4 conferences that would be in that scenario. Sitting in the seat that I sit in right now, if it provides more opportunity for JMU and schools like JMU to get into that field, I'm probably going to be for a larger field.
Sure.
That said, my only caveat and my only caution, I have always believed, right, when you talk about pro baseball, pro basketball, pro football, college basketball, and putting football in there, if you said those were the 5 major sports, and let's throw hockey in there as well, right? There's no regular season more important than college football. I mean, every week there's something at stake. Every week there's drama, right? It used to be in the BCS era, the national champ, maybe 1 loss.
Maybe.
I think LSU had 2 one time, right? But you usually had to go undefeated. Expanded CFP, right? Or CFP, you might be able to have 1 or 2. Expanded CFP, right? We're seeing 2 or 3. I just don't want the regular season to get watered down to where games in September, games in October, rivalry weekend games late in November don't matter. But again, I've always said that change is inevitable. Change can be a good thing. So let's lean into whatever happens and embrace it and realize that we're just trying to make it better than it is today.
I thought it was interesting. Iowa State AD Jamie Pollard, you may know him. I don't know whether you know him, but I think we see the frustration, and everybody who's not Big Ten SEC gets a little bit tired of the constant just oh no, it seems like you got a boulder on top of your head. He kind of unleashed on him. You know what? You want to leave? Leave. We don't need this any longer. Good luck. And I thought it was very interesting. I didn't see any response or a lot of kickback. I think maybe Jamie Pollard kind of orated what a lot of people are feeling about these constant threats and these constant, you can't do anything without us. We're the Big Ten and the SEC. I want to get your thoughts on his comments. Do you think that might be a direction that, you see more people start to jump on?
Yeah, I think that was probably a moment. Let me say this. I think the world of Jamie Pollard, as somebody who has done it longer than I have, right, and has had a lot more success than I have. He's someone I have leaned on in my career, and he's poured into me. He's given me advice. He's given me encouragement. On an individual basis, I will tell you, Jamie Pollard is good for college sports, right? He is somebody that is very thoughtful. He is somebody who wants to protect what it is that we all love, and that's college sports, the opportunities that we provide for everybody, fans, student athletes, you name it. He got frustrated, right? And you heard that come out. And so, I think at the end of the day, right, we all say we want guardrails, and then when we don't like how the rules are applied to us, we say, hey, maybe we don't want guardrails after all. I've said a long time now that everybody wants to point a finger at the NCAA and say, the NCAA is terrible. Well, point the finger back at us, because the member schools are the NCAA, right? Radford University, James Madison University, we are the NCAA. And so we have to be willing to give up, I think, for the greater good. Maybe some things that meet our own best interest from time to time. I think what you heard Jamie Pollard saying is just, he doesn't really want anybody to leave, right? But I think he's saying we all got to come together and look out for one another in the best interest of this thing as a whole. And again, make sure that we're protecting what it is that's most important.
Yeah, I agree. Now he seems like he's a good dude and a very refreshing mindset. Kind of like when we have conversation with you and I get such a response, man, that guy, he makes so many great points, right? That Matt Roden guy. I'm like, yeah. He comes at it from a different angle. He sees the bigger picture of it. So it's a good thing. So 24 teams going to happen, in my opinion. I think that's going to happen. I just think it's a matter of when it kicks in and so forth.
Hey, you and I both know, right? Anytime you worry about that, take the emotion, take the thought process out. 3 words: follow the money, right? Whatever leads to more money is what's going to happen.
Rodney Landers telling you hello, by the way, in chat. Hot Rod himself. We all know Coach Landreth, my former teammate. Yeah.
Coach Landers is a good one. He, your teammate, my former coach. We used to do defense. I think I've shared this before, right? He was my position coach on offense and defense my senior year. And I tell you what, on defense, he'd drop back and we kind of do like, scout work, right? Offense would work against the defense, and he'd be trying to throw the ball to the offense, and he rockets, right? Your hands would be blistered and bleeding.
Yeah, you can sling it, man. You can sling it. He said, ask you what your key was in Horn's defense. Is his question.
That's a good question. He yelled at me. He yelled it at me enough to where you think I would remember. I can't even remember. I just knew that I always had to get deeper than the deepest man in the backfield. I can remember him saying that all the time. You knew what Horns was because that's what he was doing on the sideline. We weren't trying to hide. We weren't trying to hide what we were doing. But I can't remember exactly what every key was. I just knew that there were certain rules. And again, we talked about it here last night, right? JMU has high expectations. Coach Landreth, Coach Schicks, they had high expectations for us. And I think we mostly lived up to it, except one day in Saturday in December of 2001.
No question. Yeah, I remember that game myself. Yep. A lot of universities over the last 2 weeks, anyway, it's been publicized. X has been going nuts, showing you how much in debt the universities are. We're not talking about the athletic departments. We're talking about the universities. I think the Clemson debt was staggering. It's like $1.4 billion or whatever it was. And that got people talking. And then I saw all these other numbers. What are some of the keys? Is this a lack of alignment, or is this just separate spending? How does this attach, you think, to athletics at a place like Clemson?
It's a good question again, Rick. I saw the headline. I'll be the first person to admit that I haven't slowed down enough to kind of read in depth.
You've been busy. You've been traveling.
and what all that's talking about. I'm always careful on some of those things to judge quickly because how Clemson does something that they're doing and how JMU does something that they're doing. It's not always an apples to apples comparison, right? How people report, how people keep their books. Sometimes you could have very, very different kind of environments that are happening you could have very similar kind of health of organizations, but how that's reported is very different. I do think in a lot of ways, college sports, you could say that, do we have a revenue problem or an expense problem? I mean, we certainly have seen expenses grow exponentially.
Yeah.
You're seeing people try to get more creative to make more revenue, more ways to continue to meet that. I think the bigger thing is actually a higher ed thing, right? That article, I believe, yes, it was about some debt, and yes, it was about the health of these different organizations, but higher ed is kind of at a crossroads where this enrollment cliff is staring us all in the face, and there's just less high school graduates from which to choose. And so you're going to see, the best of the best institutions get first picks, and then that's going to trickle down. And so some of those that are at the bottom of that food chain, that's the jeopardy. Clemson's going to be fine.
Yeah,
it's Clemson. There's a lot more institutions that I think are pretty vulnerable just based on the competitiveness that's going to happen for those prospective students over the next several years.
I know, Maddie, when you got the gig down there, you talked about the alignment, right? From the top, from president down to AD to coaches. And James Franklin's been talking about that a lot with the potential hires in Blacksburg. Can you speak to how vital that's been for your experience so far at JMU and all the places that you have gone, that has to be aligned to understand, the positive role that an athletic department takes at every institution?
Yeah, I think back to my time at Nichols. I've been an AD for 10 years now. My first one was a pretty special one to me. But at Nichols, we're not governed by a local board. We were governed by a statewide board. And, alignment necessarily didn't have to include them. It included a president. It included myself, our coaches, the people that I worked with and for every single day. It included the people in that community financially supporting us. But we had alignment there. I get to EKU, and obviously the president is one of my lifelong friends. Well, lifelong since I turned 30. I guess the first 30 years I didn't know who he was, but he's a close friend of mine. And our board chair was another friend of ours, and I think the three of us were in lockstep every way, and it's the reason that our budget was able to grow by probably 75-80%, right? We all they believed in what I was conveying to them and the importance of the value of athletics, and they believed in that, and they invested in it, and our success, I think, was a result of that. And I've said a million times, right? People talk about alignment. It's probably overused. Everybody thinks they have it. They don't. We have it at our place.
Yeah.
We absolutely have it at our place right now. And administratively, I maybe shared this story before. Our president will tell you that among the first questions that he got in the interview process was, do you understand the importance of athletics to the experience at JMU, right? When your board who is interviewing you and the committee that's made up of faculty, staff on campus, right, community members, when they're asking you that, sends a pretty strong signal that you need to be aligned, right? You need to understand from my seat, right, what athletics is. And so our board has been there. Our president is there. I'm there. Our coaches are there. And it's been that way at JMU for 2 decades plus, right? You've had great alignment for a sustained period of time, and that's what's allowed JMU to build the way that it has. And I think that's what's allowed us to have unprecedented success as a now 5-year member of the FBS. But I think alignment even goes beyond that, right? Our fan base is a positive fan base, right? It's pulling the rope in the same direction. We ask, they give. We ask them here in Roanoke, right? Get other people involved. They do, right? They grow that support person by person. And so it is rare. And when you achieve it, you better hang on to it because it's vital. It's absolutely necessary. If I have to explain and justify to a president, then I'm not spending time doing the things that are important, right? Yeah. If our president has to go to our board and always defend and always, make a case for why athletics is important at that institution, then he or she can't lead, the institution the way that they need to. They're always defending. They're always, trying to have to again, just defend the existence of athletics and the investments that are made to a campus community. And so when you have it, hang on to it. And in my case, don't be foolish to do anything enough to mess it up.
And to maintain it with the evolving changes in college athletics and the costs and what's going on, right? To make sure everybody understands. And it sounds like that was always anticipated with your new alignment and knowing this thing was going to keep going.
And we explained that. I mean, I've talked to my president before, right? When we were going into this now, wrapping up the first year of the post-house settlement, we can say, do we like every rule that we're playing by right now? No.
No, yeah, right.
But what's the alternative, Rick?
Yeah, just take your ball and go home. Right.
If you don't lean into it, you're not going to be successful, right? So if you're going to play, if they're going to have the rules, you have to play by them. You have to use them for your benefit. There's a lot of people that I speak to this week, right? And I will say, I know and I'll acknowledge that the people that are sitting in a crowd, you don't love every single thing that is happening in college sports right now.
100%. Right.
But I'll flip it and say, never in the history of college sports have the people that I'm talking to had more of an ability to influence change, have to impact success than they do right now, right? You're not just helping us provide opportunities. You're enhancing the benefits that are available to student athletes. You're helping us recruit. You're helping us retain. Bottom line, you're helping us win. And so I think you just always have to be talking about it. The rules are the rules. They will continue to evolve. As organizations, we have to evolve with it if we're going to be successful.
Have you been shared any kind of info with the kind of uptick in, applications the school received because of your football team's success? I mean, you're on national television. You're on all these shows. James Madison Dukes. James, we're going to Oregon. Have you found out about how that affected? What has campus reported anything like that to you guys?
So, yes and no. We had, I will tell you, we had 45,000 people apply for about 5,000 spots on campus this year in that freshman class of 2030. That was even before the CFP, right? So we won't know the CFP's impact until this upcoming cycle.
Okay.
CFP selection show was December 5th. I think we played the game on December 20th.
Yeah.
Most of that 45,000 had already, if not all, had turned in their applications for early admittance decisions. And so we won't know the impact of increased applications, more people wanting to be a part of JMU really until the next cycle. It always kind of lags a year behind. But I will tell you, last week, I haven't been home in a while. I guess my family's still in Harrisonburg, but last week I was in Destin for our Sunbelt Conference spring meetings, and on the last day we get to see the previous football season's media evaluation report, and that's online, print, right? That's people turning on the game and watching our games, and what is that worth to the institution? The second highest school in our league had a media evaluation of about $100 million. I think last year we were at 98, 99. This year with the CFP, it was $300+ million.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So imagine just how many commercials, right? How much print media, how many times that people are talking to JMU, right? How you would have to buy that to be worth $300 million. That is the impact right away of JMU. It's the visibility. The secret's out. It's the visibility. It's the exposure. It's the brand recognition that I think people have. Then come the applications. Then come the students.
Well, yeah, 100%, and I just think that it speaks volumes, man. It just so speaks volumes, and especially now, like you're saying, with the problems going on at the university level and enrollments and going down. And well, here's the role right here. This is why athletics. We're reminding you again why success in athletics is so important because of that. So yeah. Well, man, listen, great stuff as always. Where are you headed next? Did you say?
We're going to Charlotte tonight.
Charlotte tonight. When do you get to go back home? When are you going to check
Tomorrow.
on your family?
I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow and head home. But I'm about talked out, and
I bet you
hotel
are.
Room, the four walls of a hotel room, way too much the last couple of weeks. But no, this is a fun week. We'll wrap it up tonight, and then hopefully, I was going to say have a great Memorial Day weekend. It'll be good to be with family, but
I was going to say
it's going to be cold and wet in Harrisonburg, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, all over here. This will be just a deluge here too. But well, if you get to actually take 10 minutes to walk on Joel Hicks Field, that'll revitalize. You'll have the instant.
You know what?
Instant energy.
I'd like to think I could go out there and catch a pass or do something, but I'd step in something and they'd be picking me up, and I'd have a leg and a brace probably down I-77. No, a lot of good memories there. Obviously, growing, I've said it a million times. I wouldn't change a thing to grow up in Dublin, to go to high school. My relationship with Travis, right? My best friend still is somebody I grew up with, played high school ball with. A lot of people poured into me, impacted me there, and don't think for a second that I ever forgot it.
Well, and you're having that impact wherever you go, my friend. I mean, you're in the Hall of Fame at Nichols. Heck, when we went down to EKU to play basketball, once I started talking to some people, and I said, "Yeah, I'm from the same area as your athletic director." Really? Yeah, I went to the same high school. Really? Yeah. Well, guess what happened 10 minutes later? By the way, here's a hot dog. You want something else to drink? You got me fed for free down there.
There was a 2-for-1, so I got myself one and got you one at the same time.
I was like, oh, there you go. Yeah, that road and I go back years together. Anything else? Here's a new car, Mr. Watson.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, man, safe travels. Great to see you, brother. And again, congratulations on all your success. And I know your success is going to continue to build as your career continues to evolve. It's great stuff, man. It's great stuff.
I appreciate you. Always good to be on with you, and I appreciate the audible to go from Wednesday to Thursday to this week. But it worked well, and we'll pick it back up next month.
Yeah, anytime, brother. We'll see you next month, man.
All
Safe
right,
travels.
you, Thank you,
all right,
man.
brother. Take care. There you go. Matt Rome, Director of Athletics for the James Madison Dukes. Great stuff. He's on his caravan, much like, Burnup's going around with James Franklin. I'm just going to say it now. If Virginia Tech does not do their due diligence and talk to Matt Rome, they are making a massive, massive, massive mistake. You know it. I know it. The American people know it. How can you not be engaged with that gentleman, right? And his vision and how he understands it. You talk about alignment, which is all James Franklin's talking about, alignment. There's nobody you could align with any more seamlessly than Matt Rome. There you go. There's my soapbox. You can talk about internal candidates. You can talk about this and that. Wow. And Morris, that's a great point. Just what Tater just talked about, right? The AD, if you have to go to the board and explain that athletics is important, something's wrong. He doesn't have to do that because of the alignment. It's exactly what Tech had to do with Witt finally getting leeway or whatever, permission, however the hell you want to say it, to go and say, we need this money. Do you not understand? Yeah, that was a great connection, Morris. You're right. Yeah, he didn't have to do that. He does. They already know. And that's so important. That's what, think about it. James Madison's there. Why have they had success? Why have they been the premier program in the state? Because of that alignment, whereas Tech is still trying to achieve it. Virginia Tech still doesn't have it because they don't have a president and they don't have a new AD. Why do you think James Franklin's been singling that out as the biggest thing? He knows that's one of the basic, most fundamental key elements if you're going to have success and cohesion. They have it at JMU pretty clearly. Growth, not just saying it. Anybody can come on and say it. I'm talking the actions. Well, is anybody going to question JMU's actions? They're getting it done, aren't they? Telling you, everywhere he's gone, they've thrived. He basically saved the Nichols State Athletic Department. Eastern Kentucky, facilities improved. Money came in. Teams got better. Now he's at JMU. They're in the playoff. I mean, you can talk about vetting people and you can overthink things all you want, but you got a guy right here in the Commonwealth. Just saying. You don't need to overthink it. Maybe I'll bring this up a week from today when I'm hanging out over there with James Franklin. I'll just do a little name dropping. And I'm not saying there aren't other good candidates, but you've got to make that guy a candidate priority. Dwight Vick going to join us. And what a way to finish. What a Thursday, man. What David Smith and Andy and Matt Roan. I hope, and I know you do, appreciate the magnitude of the quality of people and their information we try to bring on the program. And that just gets even more. The momentum train builds now because there he is, the quintessential source for all things Virginia Tech football. Dwight Vick. What is going on, number 57? How are you?
I'm good, man. Good morning. I'm good, man. Another day in the land of the living.
Yeah. Now, is that a Houston Astros helmet?
Oh yeah. Houston Astros.
I like that, man. That's a good logo.
Yeah, man. You know me. I got
know.
A lot of hats. I got a lot of hats. I got a lot of shoes. I got a lot of thoughts.
Well, and I want to go do that because as Matt Roan was just talking, I thought of you because you brought this up back when we had our emergency Armageddon podcast after the ODU loss. You brought up alignment and you said Virginia Tech something, and I don't want to misquote you, but somewhere along the lines of their egos have gotten such in the way over there that nobody is aligned. Well, he just talked about it. Right? Why has JMU been able to be successful? He hasn't had to struggle with. He doesn't have to explain to anybody in the hierarchy why the football program in particular has to be good. What have we heard James Franklin say since he got here? Well, we have to have alignment from top to where we are here if we're going to be able to turn this thing around. And you said it. That was week 3 last year. And it shows you how far Virginia Tech's been behind because they haven't had that because, as Morris said in chat, Witt had to go to the board to explain it to him, right?
Yeah, and I know Witt faced criticism asking for money right before the season, and I remember that presser he had. It ruffled some feathers to some fans, but I don't think the average casual fan understands the business you have to have, the mindset in running a program. Football has to be your bread and butter unless you're at a VCU where they don't have a football team. But once you have a football team, and if you want to sustain success, it goes hand in hand with academics. I got into a bit of a heated debate with a guy that runs the Gobbler Country account. Great guy. I don't know him personally, but he runs a great account. But he was talking about why he chose Tech in the 70s and in academics. And I said, the irony in this is your account on Facebook and Twitter is based on football. You're not talking about engineering and science. So it's not to take shots at him. It's just more so Virginia Tech's enrollment in 2007 went up after the tragic shooting, the April 16th shooting, because of the fact that Virginia Tech student body and Beamer took the lead in getting everybody together. Frank Beamer did. No disrespect to the president. Right. And then they were trying to decide whether or not they were going to have the season. They had the season, and they won the ACC that year. They opened it up with East Carolina. Game day was there. Enrollment went up, right? And football was at the forefront of keeping the university together. Beamer talked about, and I'm paraphrasing, giving the students something to cheer for, bring everybody together, right? Now, when I talked about egos, I've been saying this for a while. Post-Beamer era, it's been either too many cooks in the kitchen or not enough food to cook for the meal. Because everybody was sneaking a piece when someone's back was turned. They were taking food out the kitchen and putting it in their home kitchen, right? So there was a bit of selfishness. When you look at successful programs, I don't care if you're talking about high school or middle school, college, or pro, your training staff, your head coach and his assistants, your medical team, your cleaning crew, your janitorial staff, everybody has to be on the same page. Egos are inevitable. You're going to have people with egos, but we have to know how to manage that when it's time to come together. And I think money gets the attention as it should because you have to have the money. But how do we keep the money? How do we sustain that? Who do we pay? Who do we don't overpay? And that's what sometimes gets lost in translation when it comes to kind of getting everybody on the same page. And I think that's where, when I look at Tech over the years, that's where they get lost. Where you look at a program, a smaller program compared to football, like wrestling at Virginia Tech, Coach Roby does a great job keeping the program together and keeping everybody understanding their role and making sure they have success on the mat, as well as in recruiting, as well as in marketing. They have a great program. They have a great brand.
So let me ask you, and this may not be correct, but it felt like you just said, the alignment there with Coach Beamer and everything was already in place, right? It was there. I know the wins started to get fewer and fewer down toward the end, but it didn't matter because it's Frank Beamer and everything was still aligned. It may have been time, and it was. He recognized it was time. But didn't it feel like, though, when Witt came in, you brought in Pete Morris to run the communications, and they didn't communicate with anybody, and you bring in Fuente, and immediately the alignment became just them and their new mindset as opposed to the alignment that was there and created under Coach Beamer. Does that make any sense? It almost felt like they got intentionally pulled away, Yeah,
it made a lot of sense. I think what happens is sometimes my mother is an educator, a retired teacher. She taught collegiately middle school and she's taught high school. So education, my dad has his doctorate degree. My mom has her master's. So education when I was a kid and even throughout my childhood was essential. And the one thing I learned in bringing that point up, Rick, is that I was taught to ask for help, right? And I think sometimes you come in, they were trying to create this new brand and kind of break away from the old to pay homage with the number 25 and some of the things they were trying to keep, but they were trying to basically start a new era. But it was evident that some of this stuff wasn't making sense. Like, I'm gonna give you a simplistic football situation, and I adamantly tweeted about and was adamant about it should have never happened. Playing ODU at ODU made sense maybe one time. The length of that contract was insane because I kept tweeting, you don't see Alabama or Ohio State going to a directional school on the road. It's a death trap. It doesn't make sense. But Witt and those guys felt that, the 757 is a very important recruiting area for our program, and we got to have a presence in the 757. Yet you consulted with no one. I'm not saying you had to call me, but if there's somebody that understands that area, it's someone like me.
Absolutely.
Right? Why wouldn't you consult with? Why wouldn't you, as I mentioned, ask for help and say, hey, let me talk to some guys, even if it's not me, some people that understand the culture and relationship between Virginia Tech and the 757. Playing ODU would do you no favors at ODU. You get nothing out of that. You lost to them twice, and essentially you hurt your brand. You hurt your credibility,
right?
And you actually helped ODU, right? And so it's one of those things where you have to understand, like, the brand and how it works to connect the fans and the players. Like, for example, that little reality show they have on YouTube right now that's doing really well, the behind the scenes all access with Virginia Tech and Franklin. Well, a few weeks ago, around the time of the spring game, Franklin brought in Corey Moore, Cornell Brown, Mike Vick, and Gildersleeve, Ike Charlton, and tons of former players, right? Well, the reason why he brought them in is he had Norfolk State staff there. So he had Mike Vick and all the guys on the coaching staff at Norfolk State. But it wasn't about Norfolk State. It was about letting the Virginia Tech players know who they were. And then in the clips, you see him having Mike talk to the quarterback room, and you can see Franklin taking notes and the offensive coordinator is in there. Those kind of situations build relationships between the old and the new, but also make sure that you understand what it means to be a Hokie, right? When you have a bunch of outsiders coming in a new regime and nobody knows what it means to be a Hokie, you're really setting yourself up for failure because you're trying too hard to fit a narrative or create a narrative that doesn't need to exist. I've often said in Twitter Spaces, I've said on your platform and even my own platform, Beamer gave you the blueprint on how to win in Blacksburg. Right. All you had to do was build upon that. You didn't have to recreate a lot of stuff, and it was really, really damaging, and that's why they're playing catch-up. Now, I will say between recruiting and getting the revenue now, they're off to a great start. They're doing a great job catching up. But it should have never gotten to that point. It should have never happened where, again, and prior to that, and again, this wasn't Witt, this was Weaver, but then they had that 2,000-year-long contract with playing East Carolina. You know, and then and then you look at what they did with you know, JMU. Respectfully, I get it, but I don't get it. You had a chance to kind of set the tone with your program to play JMU because the perception is JMU is the best football program in the state.
100%.
Right? So again, these are some of the small things you need to do to kind of help your program take over the state and just tell everybody you're back, right? But I'm not running a program, but that's some things I would have never taken JMU off the schedule. Never. Yeah.
No, you're 100% right. And I would have thought a guy like James Franklin would have been more adamant that that game remained because of just what you're saying. I'm here. This is my first team. This is the team just coming off the playoff. You take that game away from fans. You take that game away from really exposure into your program coming from Penn State to Virginia Tech, and you replace it. And, you know, there's no other way for people to look at it as if Tech just didn't want to take that chance, right? I mean, that's the honest part of it. And now you're going to beat VMI by however bad you're going to beat VMI, and you're going to get after that first game, and you're going to go, okay, there comes ODU next. You know, let's see what they look like next week. We would have known immediately, you know.
Yeah, and you talk about the ODU, like when I talk about the ODU contract series and whatnot, giving ODU 2 signature wins, and one of them being a night when they came into Lane Stadium in a must-win game for Tech, and you get boat race. You know, again, what? Let me explain this to everybody. I'm a 757 guy, but I live in Nova. Been living up here 20-some years. I lived in Southwest Virginia for 6 years, you know, playing football. So I know my state. You know, I know my state. Spent a lot of time in Richmond. So when you talk about what Virginia Tech was for decades, Virginia does not have a pro team. So many people are Commanders, Redskins fans, or they like the Cowboys, they like teams. In basketball, you like whoever. The Wizards have been trash for decades. So there was no identifiable program except the Hokies. UVA, after George Welsh left, Mike Groh came in, but they were still rebuilding. They were somewhat in disarray. Virginia Tech became the must-see program in the state. You had basically the block on lock. You had the entire Commonwealth behind you. All you had to do was keep building on that, right? With the 757 players that went to Virginia Tech, D'Angelo Hall, Cam Chancellor, Tyrod Taylor, so many, Vegas Robinson, Vince Hall, from Chesapeake to Virginia Beach to Newport News to Suffolk, that entire region had household names, heroes to cheer for. That's why the 757 became such a big part of Virginia Tech, because you had so many players from that region that came. Some were unknown when they got there and became stars. Right. Daryl Tapp, another guy that was a great player that became a legend at Tech. You didn't need to play ODU. I knew when they played that first game, I said, man, oh man, this is not going to be easy, because you had all those kids who wanted to be at Tech who were from the 757. Why walk into a death trap? Why walk into an ambush? No. We're not going to meet you there. You know how you watch the movies, they say, hey, the drop is at 5 o'clock. And they say, no. We're going to meet you here. We're going to meet here. And I would have had ODU coming to Blacksburg every year, catch this L, and get back on the road. Here's your check. You are not going to set us up, because what you essentially did, even though ODU isn't what Virginia Tech has been historically, you gave a program life. You gave them life. And I know my daughter just graduated from ODU last weekend. And when I took kids on visits there, for not football or basketball, just for visits, part of their recruiting and their visit, when they do have students come in to tour this campus, is a video. They talk about how they beat Virginia Tech.
Right.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I mean, it's part of the video. So it's important to understand your worth and know your value and know where you're supposed to go. And I think that's what's got lost. There was too many people that, I hate saying this, man, because I'm not perfect myself. None of us are, but there were too many people that were not qualified to get positions, that were given positions. And it's too important with a sport like football at a Power Four conference.
Well, and it cements my position. And I've been asked directly, "What do you think Whit Babcock was a success?" And I say, "Well, no, he wasn't, because he failed football." But also, what you're saying, he clearly didn't do the research coming in, because you're trying to create this, and that's exactly what they said in the relief. That's all they said. We want to get down to ODU because the 757 has been so traditional. You were already there. You were already successful. All you had to do, Justin Fuente, was show up at Warwick High School and say, "Hey, you're the school that produced the greatest player in the history of this program. I'd like to get to meet you and know you and see maybe if you have some other folks that might be able to develop to help us." Instead, you never stepped foot on the threshold of that campus, and to this day, it makes zero sense to me. That's all you had to do.
Yeah, my guy, I love him, the head coach of Roanoke College, Brian Steinspring.
We love Stein.
I know some Tech fans talk about how he was as an OC, but I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna say this till God takes my last breath. Brian Steinspring was critical in the great runs Virginia Tech had in winning Big East and ACC championships, because Brian Steinspring was the main recruiter in the 757. So he was the one that found Daryl Tapp, D'Angelo Hall, and Cam Chancellor, to name a few, and Sharon Stiff. So what Brian Steinspring did was, when he went down there, he went to the Chickasees. He went to the neighborhoods that other coaches wouldn't go to. He also did a lot of work with the 757 Colts. That's a youth football organization. He did a lot of stuff with mom and pop organizations, 7-on-7 teams, coaches and trainers that knew the Josh Sweats and all those guys. That's how you set up business. You work with the guys that know, hey, man, hey, Coach Steiny, I got an 8th grader right now. He is going to be a dog. I'm telling you right now, that's his mom right there. So Steinspring was loved.
Absolutely.
I know this. Listen, I know these guys personally. Jalen Holmes, Josh Sweat, Derek Noddy. These are the kids we all finished second behind Florida State and Penn State, right? All those guys that we missed, we were number 2. They all love Steinspring. They like Virginia Tech a lot. The problem was we were going like this, and the other programs were going like this. But it wasn't because of Steiny. Steiny got us in the door. You didn't need to play ODU, because when you were in the 757 or the 804, which is the Richmond area, when a team is not recruiting and you're getting kids, not 1 or 2 kids, but you're pushing Texas, and the kids in your backyard are like, "Hey, man, Slim, what you doing, man? I want to be a Hokie. What is this nonsense? You recruiting this 2-star from Texas because you say a 2-star from Texas is better than us?"
That's what they were saying. That's right.
Those guys from Green Run and Oscar Smith started going more to Carolina, to Wake Forest, to Pittsburgh, and the same kids you missed out on were having record games against you. And meanwhile, we got a kid from Oregon running around looking like a toddler, and then we're getting our doors beat in. And that's how you lose. All this is, one thing, just because you wear a suit don't mean you're sharp up here. Just means you have a suit on. Just means you have a suit on. And I mean, again, it's business is business, but you got to know how to run a business. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've made business mistakes because I didn't know. But guess what? Back to my theme of my point today. I asked for help. I get a consultant.
You're exactly right. My dad used to tell me all the time, the fish rots from the head. You'll understand that one day. And usually it's the people that are in charge, and you just kind of go, wow, they don't know what they are doing. And that was proof in the pudding right there. And what you said is so true. And I remember you used to talk about it on the radio show. They were basically saying, if we go to Texas now, they've got a lot of depth of talent down there. We know we're not going to get guys from the Longhorns or the Aggies, but anybody we bring down's got to be better than kids here in Southwest or Central or the beach, Tidewater area, right in Virginia. Come on, and that's the message, whether they're saying it or not. That's the message that's received by these coaches.
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
You're absolutely right. But here's the thing, and this is why Franklin is killing it in recruiting. Knowing dynamics in relationships, having credibility to pick the phone up and respond to texts right away, text messages, right? So the other point is, during the golden era of Tech, which Tech is trying to get back to and exceed, Beamer understood Virginia because he's a Virginia guy, but he also had ADs that understood the dynamic. God rest his soul, Jim Weaver understood the importance of recruiting the Mid-Atlantic area, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, and North Carolina. So your Dave Brain that left Virginia Tech when Weaver, Dave Brain and Beamer understood. So there was a relationship where your AD and your head coach and his assistants all understood, right? So it wasn't really that complicated. It was really understanding, okay, we got to get these kids. Did Virginia Tech during those years get everybody? No, but they got enough where they were averaging 10 to 11 wins every year. And you can say whatever you want about what the conference good. No, all I know is for a decade plus, Virginia Tech owned the ACC. Did they win a national championship? No. But the truth of the matter is, we weren't strong and scratching for 4 wins.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and I know it used to pain me. It pained me to see kids that wanted to be Hokies at Wake Forest and Pitt. And they were from not just the 757. Some of those kids were from Roanoke. Some of those kids were from Richmond. Some of those kids were from Washington, D.C. But you had too many people that were outsiders that didn't really respect this area, this region. They didn't respect what Tech was. You can come in and say, this is my vision for Virginia Tech, but I still need to understand what Virginia Tech means. I say this example all the time. Lauren Johnson, who's won 5 state championships, one of the best high school coaches in the VHSL.
Yeah.
Lauren Johnson is from Dade County. He is from Miami, Florida. He went to Virginia Tech. I helped host him on his visit. I told you guys I'm the closer. And Lauren Johnson, when he got the job after leaving Stonewall Jackson, where he took them to states, and he sent guys to college, guys like Ryan Williams, right? When Lauren Johnson got to the Richmond area and took over Highland Springs, he spent the entire summer going to barbershops, talking to players. He also got a book. They gave him a book. He read every page on the history of Highland Springs. So he understood what it means to be a Springer. He also met with the former players. They have a very rich tradition of alumni, right? Like the guys you have on your show that played with you. You know, the pride you guys have, the same way we have at Hampton High School. So he understood the culture, and he connected with the community, and he built on what they stood for. He didn't come in with his own agenda. And he was,
Yeah, no, and the good news for Tech fan, and I'm sure somebody's brought it up, James Franklin may not be from here, but he's keenly aware of this state's talent because guess what? He stole it from this state and from Virginia Tech year in, year out. So he knows exactly what kind of a hotbed this can be for college.
Absolutely. Ricky Slade Jr., Devin Ford from North Stafford, he took them all. And he was at Maryland, the University of Maryland. So he he did the same thing. I mean, again, you got to know what you're walking into, and you got to understand, to have a guy like Corey Moore come and speak to the team is important because Corey Moore is a very influential person. This is what I try to tell people. When the previous regime, not Pry, but the one before him, but Pry had to repair that. When you ostracize some of the greatest players in Virginia Tech football history, many of them who are coaches, why would you do that? Why would you sabotage your own self? Why would you not build relationships? Again, why wouldn't you ask for help?
It comes back. See how you brought it all together from your first statement of the day.
Why would you ask for help?
There's nothing wrong with sitting in the back of the room when you're in an Algebra 2 quiz and you don't understand and you go, can you explain that one more time? Nobody's going to, ask for help. It's simple.
It's the reason why you have a great show. You got Andy, you got Will Stewart, you got Al Mason.
I learn every day.
Yeah, you got my man that played basketball at Radford. You have different people. The woman that comes on from South Carolina, the other woman from North Carolina. You have a diverse group. You cover other schools. You understand, as much as this is my show, my guests help make the show. There's that word again, help. But that's what the ego will prevent you from doing if you think it's all about you. This is why guys like Stephen A. Smith may make millions of dollars, but every time I turn on Twitter or the television, he's beefing with the NBA player because it's his ego.
I know.
It's his ego.
I know.
It's weird, man. You're not the story.
No, exactly. And that's the way I've always approached this. And I think it's probably been the reason the show's come back in different ways. It's always been about you. It's always been about the guest. But first of all, it's always been about the listener. I don't want it to be – it shouldn't be about the host. I don't want to be like a Jim Rome or a Stephen A. Smith or some of these guys that just make themselves the I don't – no, I hope it never. I'm glad you see that. I hope it comes across that way because that's
it does. And I think also, too, that's what my final point on, what happened was the fans are what make Virginia Tech. When you have a fan base that's driving 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours or flying in
it's
to
unreal.
Play,
yeah.
To see a team that can barely win 6 games and to still sell out and jump up and down to Sandman and to buy gear. Because when I go to a game, even when I come to a spring game, the lines, the paraphernalia selling. If you give them a winner, God bless you. Because Virginia Tech fans, again, I've been in different places, and I've seen strong fan bases. This fan base will just ride for you in a way where you can't understand. Again, I think that's what was lost, is that the fans were taken advantage of. You kept lying to the fans about, we have a plan, we know what we're doing, and I'm like, why are you our fans? Yeah, we got some idiots, but many of us are not stupid.
Right.
And the best evidence is what you watch on Saturday.
Right.
When you have assistants making 900,000, 800,000, 700,000, and we can't get 3rd and 2, well, what are you doing during the week? I'm sorry. It's the truth.
No, it's true. It's true.
I want, again, if you Google me and what I've done on behalf of Virginia Tech, from speaking to rallying, being moderators, calling games, the radio shows I've done, I have the credibility to say this. I see this program rise and fall, and then I've seen it try to come back. And ultimately, the biggest issue I've seen that gets in the way of success is egos.
Absolutely. And before we head out, we are going to make an announcement right now, you and me, because starting this fall, we're going to do a 1-hour program during the football season. Just Dwight and I are going to break down the opponent, whatever comes up. And first of all, I'm very excited, and I appreciate you agreeing to jump into this. I think it's going to be huge. I know people are going to love it. And now we're trying to figure out what it's going to be called, right? That's our name. That's our next thing. What we're going to do.
Yeah. I can't remember what I sent you.
I got them. These are great. These are great.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, I was talking to Dwight yesterday, we're going to get you, the listening audience, right, to pick the one you would like. We've got, now this is great. The first one, I was like, well, the victory formation, VICK, TORY. That is great. Locker room logic was another one that you had. But then you threw out the last one, and I thought, from the tunnel. I mean, we always see that image, right, of just the anticipation and that whole tunnel scene. So then I threw out, how about victory, VICK, from the tunnel? So I'll put up a poll or something, and we'll let people pick with the one they want. I got to figure out how to do a poll. Yeah.
I mean, either way, man. Whatever they pick, we'll roll with it. As long as they don't do like the DC fans when they pick the Wizards when they went from the Bullets.
Yeah, we don't want.
If somebody don't leave, if somebody nominates something crazy like that, We're blocking you. We're blocking you.
Yeah, you're done.
Dog Sports Talk Show.
You're done.
No,
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, we don't want any victors or yeah, it's true. Yeah, no
I'm
Wizards,
excited,
no Commanders. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. No Commanders. We don't want to hear that. No, don't give us Washington Commanders. We don't want that stuff.
Oh man, so much is in the name. So much is in the name, man. The name. Yeah, I live in the DMV and DC area now, been 26 years, and I remember when they went from the Bullets to the Wizards, and I was like, y'all really gonna go with the Wizards? Really? The Wizards? The Commanders, I don't like, and I mean, again, I understood with the whole thing, whatever the Redskins. I don't know. Look, anyway. That's for a different topic.
Yeah, we can get into that. We might get into it on the new show, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
that'll be coming up this fall, and that'll be on this channel. White and I'll talk about whatever we want to distribute it wherever else. So it'll be great. So
be a lot of fun, man. Talking tech, man. Yeah, it'll be good too. Yeah,
I will, and I'll create a poll, figure out how to do that on social media as well. We'll get people to chime in on what they want to name it. So.
Sounds good, Rick. I appreciate you letting me talk my stuff this morning.
No, it was great discussion, man. It was a great getting down to the bones of what's wrong and what could be right very soon in Blacksburg.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, man. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you, everybody. Y'all be good.
All right, DV. There you go. The White Vic. He's the best, folks. And that's one of the announcements. We're going to start our own hour-long program during the football season. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to get in. Maybe we'll have other players on. Wink, wink. It's going to be awesome. And that'll be here on the channel, and we'll distribute it. Let Dwight distribute it. It's going to be great. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Finally, Friday edition. I believe the usual trifecta tomorrow with Will Stewart. He might be traveling. I don't know. Mike Ashley. And then Jen is back from Vegas. Great stuff. Subscribe, like, and share the channel. Please, it's important. Make sure you go back and like the videos, even if you've already, if you were here the whole time. Thanks to you in chat. As always, thanks to our great sponsors. Thanks to our guests today, David Smith, Andy Bitter, Matt Roan, Dwight Vic. We'll see you tomorrow on the Friday edition, everybody.